administration from the top down. It's like they've started their own Me Too movement. You're a rapist, me too. Welcome.
That's clever. That is clever.
That was clever.
Clever.
You are correct, sir.
It's a little dark.
He also doesn't feel that well. That's why he said it was clever.
He's in a weakened state, which is why I've waited to pounce with my Chris is wrong letter.
I was sick in bed all weekend long.
Aw, you poor thing. I think I have leprosy. You have pleurisy, and I have leprosy. So, hello.
I'm leaving now.
Once Bobby Kennedy's in, everything will be fine at Health and Human Services. Did you see the latest? Okay.
Right-wing hypocrites.
Yeah. Wants to police everybody else's food. Remember when we heard that from Michelle Obama? He's eating McDonald's.
Oh, he was posing.
Are they
with
trying to be
McDonald's.
men of the people still? They're on their private jet with all four
With
white
McDonald's.
billionaires eating McDonald's. Oh, you care about us and the price of Big Macs, don't you? Oh my God, I hate everybody this morning. If you're wondering about my wardrobe choice and how I feel about Joe and Mika going to meet with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Oh my God! Oh my God. Can I just say what that is all about? I sent it to you this weekend. The headline, MSNBC ratings in half. They are in half. And you know why? Because of like that. That's why. By the way, we said this during the whole like pushing Biden out thing.
Yep.
The only person's ratings who went through the roof, Lawrence O'Donnell.
Yep.
Everybody else is because of beating up Biden, beating up Democrats. Scarborough's been trying beating up trans people and the trans issue, and that's why we lost, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not surprised. I was telling you, I only watch Nicole now. I am down to whatever. Granted, I love Lawrence. He's on too late for me. Granted, part of it is that I'm a loser.
Well, you can watch it the
Is
next
it bad to
morning.
admit that Joy Reid is on too late for me now?
No.
No, I mean,
No, it's 4 o'clock our
I get
time.
everything I need from Nicole.
That's
and Nicole's a former Republican.
Yeah, she is.
I know. She's really good, though. She feeds my soul.
Stephanie is a former Republican.
That's right. You were a Goldwater girl.
I was 12.
You
That's
knocked
my
on,
excuse.
You knocked on doors.
What's yours, Nicole?
Who did you vote for the first
I
time?
didn't knock on doors. I would have scared everyone away. Are you kidding? What the hell is this wolf child doing? Get the tranquilizer dart.
Who did you vote for the first time you could vote?
Nothing. No.
Oh.
I blame you for that.
Oh.
Reagan. Okay.
She barely said that word. She was very quiet.
Jim always blamed me for everything because of that one vote.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it's on
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
I blame
wait-
you for voting for Perot.
Why?
For
Clinton got in.
For Clinton?
You blame me for not falconing with Bobby Kennedy.
Yes.
Yes.
Noted,
We do.
Noted Big Mac eater.
You could have given him a Big
I
Mac and
got you
Falcon.
Bill Clinton, for God's sake.
Yes,
You're
his
welcome.
Perot vote was Clinton.
Thank you.
Jiminy.
I'm going to try to be tender with
Jiminy
you. as you're-
Cricket. Crikey.
Okay. Do they really think this is going to help their ratings? This normalizing this monster? I'm sorry.
They
but
think they're
Trump
not going to be
today,
arrested. That's why they went.
Trump tomorrow, Trump forever. If that's what the mood you're in, this is your show. Hey, can I just say, Chris, we've been saying, anecdotally, high-powered radio executive Chris LeBoy. Just based on social media and our emails, but, email response, whatever. I mean, and I don't mean to make this about me, although it is all about me.
Well, this is
Well,
your
this is the
show.
Stephanie Miller
A
show.
lot of people are saying they can only watch this. I get it. First of all, fart jokes. D jokes. We're not just about politics.
Stories about bears.
Whale
Hot
flatulence.
Frosty, the Netflix movie. I mean, we
Did
talk
you-
about a lot
did
of...
you end up
Whale
finishing that?
plumes?
Yeah, it sucked. Oh my God. Can I tell you what sucks more? Though? This is how, because I get about wanting to unplug from politics.
Yes.
And so, again, where was I? Oh, you know what sucked more than Hot Frosty is I believe in Santa Claus. This woman starts dating a guy that still believes in Santa Claus. And first of all, he's clearly gay. The problem is not that he believes in Santa
It's
Claus.
because he said he's gay.
It's like, is anyone else watching this? This is like Waiting for Guffman. What's going on? He plays like like Will Ferrell if he were psychotic and on acid in Elf. He's like a Christmas guy that still believes in something. I don't know. Couldn't
Maple
make it
syrup
all.
over his cereal?
No, on his spaghetti.
Do Christmas rom-coms have the worst acting in the history of the world?
Yes.
Or is it me?
No, industrials.
It's part of their charm.
Have you seen training videos?
Oh my God.
It's a part of their charm, Stephanie. That's why people
It is
watch.
lost on me.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
let's talk about Joe and Mika again, because now, you know what? Didn't it make you really angry about 2016? This is how we got here, partially.
I think they're
Make
trying
it
to avoid
right.
going to prison.
Oh, my God.
That's what I think
They
they're
traveled to Mar-a-Lago to with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. In an attempt to bury the hatchet. What are you? He'll bury it in your head. Are you? Oh my God. Speaking of the normalizing and both sidesing that got us here, oh my God, if Jody, I would literally, my spleen will explode. If I see video of the way they talked about Hillary in 2016 and the way they let Trump literally phone it in and like laughing at him and Donald. Oh my God. So let's just review. He accused, based on information from Matt Gaetz, Joe Scarborough of murdering an intern in his office, which was a tragedy. She had a heart condition. Anyway, oh my God, remember Mika's facelift? And they've all become Ted Cruz. Just, yes, sir, call my wife ugly. Yes, sir. Saying my dad killed an intern. Sure, yeah. I love this part of the reporting. Trump was cheerful. Who gives up?
She's in a mood.
Trump was cheerful and upbeat and seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats. Oh my God, are you the two stupidest humans in the world? Really? Because that's what Attorney General Matt Gaetz and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says. I'd like to reach out to the other side.
Didn't you send Sean Hannity a gift once?
That was a long time ago. It was before Trump and
There's
fascism.
a picture of you two over here.
Yeah.
They asked me to give a speech when he won some stupid award. It was 1,000 years ago.
So you were
Smiling.
lauding Sean Hannity.
They were smiling. That picture, that's a very smiley picture.
Listen, mister, everything's about prices. Are you ready for your This is Wrong letter? Because the texts have already started going out to Hispanic people and gay people, the same people that got the anti-black texts. Rude Pundit writes about the woman that thought it was okay to say the word retard over and over again at a school board meeting because Trump, this is what people voted for.
Yep.
The price of eggs. They voted for to be the more selves, and it's okay. And she's like, oh, you're not going to police my speech, right? Everyone's like, great. Get prepared to hear the F word more than you have since grade school. Oh, my God. I'm firmly in the D category. Dyke, ditch flicker. Is there anything else? What else is going on? Hey, where's Thom? Where's my hate tweeter?
He'll be here soon.
All right, could I have
Should
some
I book
breezy?
him? Should I book him? on
Yeah,
the show?
sure. Why not?
I'll
Yeah.
find him and book him.
Yeah. This is, if we can't get into Mar-a-Lago, let's go meet with the guy that. I can't see what time it is.
It's right there.
Okay, got
See
it.
the thing that looks like a clock in the
Uh-huh.
middle of your screen?
Oh, got it.
There you go.
Okay.
We'll fix it during the break.
We will
Make
fix it
really
during the
all
break
right.
so it looks better.
All right, could I have some breezy? I've been coddling you, Chris, because you've worked really hard this year, and I love you. You have kept the tour and the show afloat. So I have coddled you from your Chris is Wrong emails and only read. Do you see how many Chris is Right emails I read on Friday?
Yes.
What shirt is outselling Chris is Wrong?
Well, I'm going to guess the Trump shirts are going to start going up. Mike from Las Cruces, a white guy born and raised in Lockport, New York.
Lockport?
My hometown up the
Yeah.
transit from Cheektowaga, and Tanawanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subject line, Chris is Wrong. Those will go right to the top of my email box. See? Look at all these emails. Let's go right to the top.
Okay.
That's only from like 2 weeks.
Those were all Chris's right letters?
There's no more of those.
I see.
Stephanie,
You
been
throw
watching.
them away before they even reach the show.
Been watching you since current TV. You are fabulous. Well, weighing in here to say Chris is wrong. I think that's one of the tenets of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the basic tenets. I am
Absolutely.
fabulous and Chris is wrong.
Yeah.
That's what my whole worldview is based on. Chris, your foolish microanalysis of talking down to uninformed people is BS. First, Kamala said repeatedly that prices were too high and she had a plan to address it. We gave those idiots facts and truth. All right, well, that might be talking down a little bit, but they are
A little
idiots.
bit.
They're idiots.
A little
A
bit.
skosh?
The greatest
That proves
economic...
my point there. Go ahead.
I'm reading the whole letter.
Okay, all right.
I read the whole stupid Chris is Right letter Friday.
You read your little letter there. Go ahead.
Is that patronizing?
Yes,
It's both
it is. It's
patronizing and
patronizing.
condescending.
It's
Okay,
definitely
all right, got it.
patronizing.
He's an expert in it. It's been crafted over many years.
Oh, God, yes.
I know you do.
I know you do.
I know you do feel good. The greatest economic
Oh,
post.
you're getting me in my weakened state. Okay.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
what
when
you're
I
doing.
pounce.
Uh-huh.
The greatest economic post-pandemic recovery in the frickin' world. Second, sorry, Chris, if these foolish snowflake voters had two working synapses, they would overheat. Third, this election was lost because of the basis of the founding of this country, genocide, slavery, racism, misogyny. We lost because she was a woman and black. No other explanation for the white women misogynists who vote to protect themselves and crap on others' rights. What kind of twisted logic is required to vote for reproductive freedom and then also vote for the that took it away? Thank you. By the way, if the germ of hate, racism, and misogyny is not in the soul of people, right-wing media would not amplify and water it. Propaganda only works on weak, uninformed people who just want any hatred rationalization to reinforce the sickness in their soul. So, Chris, buy a Chris is Wrong t-shirt and a Stephanie is Right t-shirt. See, we don't even, that's how fair I am. We don't even have a Stephanie is Right t-shirt because it just goes without saying.
Well, your name's on the show, so you're always right.
Right. Thank you. That's how that works.
Thank you. And stop with the talking down to idiots, micro foolishness. Stephanie, you rule. Mike from Left. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Shows you the intelligence of people coming out of Lockport, New York.
Yes, it does. Oh, you didn't mean that as a compliment. Fine. All right, we have Rude Pundit, Randy Weingarten, and Stephen Beschloss on the Big Monday show. It is, I think we may go with Jody's I'm Not Going Down Without a Fight song.
Is that how you fight?
Oh, the head of the FCC.
Yeah.
Wrote project of the section on the FCC for Project 2025. Good night, America.
January 21st, we will be going dark.
How long do you
apparently.
think this little rebel in the Trump shirt's going to be in the air?
But the only thing that we're ruled by the FCC are our terrestrial radio stations.
That's true.
Yeah, you got to start working out more so you get to that dump button. We can't have one mistake. Not one mistake, mister.
I don't think that's going to matter.
All right. Yeah, all right. 18 minutes after the hour. Good morning, Glenn Kirshner.
Good morning, Steph.
You know, you tweeted or threaded, justice matters to me, justice matters to us. If it didn't, I wouldn't be so angry when we experience injustice. Our anger proves the point that justice does matter. If we give up belief, that guiding principle, then we'll have lost all hope of repairing what's broken. This obviously has been bumpy ever since the election. I have to say, Glenn, I've defended you and other legal analysts a couple times because people, I'm sure you've seen this, people go, oh, they were wrong about everything. Well, we never expected we were founded on no one is above the law in this country. You know, pardon you and all the other legal experts for living in a world where we actually are a nation of laws, not men. But we're not there. We're not there anymore.
Yeah, every time Trump does something lawless or the Republicans support him in doing something lawless, it turns out I was wrong because what I do, Steph, every damn day is I explain how the law is intended to work. And the fact that Donald Trump seems to be above the law, seems to be Teflon, does it make me wrong? Yeah, because I predict that someday the law will rise up, will be prodded into wakefulness, and will apply to Donald Trump the way it applies to you, me, and everybody else. So I will cop to being wrong, but you know what? I'll never stop explaining how it's supposed to work because someday it's going to come back, Steph.
Yeah.
Was it easy for the folks in World War II, the soldiers, when they were fighting this same sort of, coming dictatorship? No, it wasn't. And it's not going to be easy for us, but we're going to keep fighting.
Yeah. I mean, Glenn, by the way, you were on the defending Merrick Garland to a degree for a while, saying he got appointed late and a lot of, obstruction, blah, blah, blah. But oh my God, Glenn, I gotta wonder how he felt yesterday about dropping the case against Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Who apparently is going to replace
and
him.
And that's why at some point I said, listen, Merrick Garland was a good man. I believe he is a good man. Right. But it turned out he was the wrong man for the moment. And I've been saying this for well over a year or longer because he did not aggressively go after the folks who tried to end American democracy. And this is where we have landed because of it.
Yeah. Now Trump is going to pardon them all. I mean, here's the thing. I have no patience with people that pretend to be surprised. It's like he told you he's going to do all this. Everyone's now like, is he really going to? Oh, my God. It's like, yes. I mean, the ethics report I mean, obviously, who is it? John Cornyn said, in again, a normal world, he said, what is it? Yes, John Cornyn said he does not think there should be any limitations on the committee's vetting process for Matt Gaetz, and the highly damaging ethics report should be released to them. And obviously the committee has the power to release it, but of course there's Jim Jordan going, nope, that shouldn't be released. Is there even going to be a vetting process, or is he going to just get a recess appointment? I mean, because now Thune seemed open to recess appointments yesterday already after he said he wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, Steph, there were about 12 questions packed into your one question there. And
Yeah.
Everything's very dense.
Oh, she's been like a pinball machine this morning, Glenn.
Been the pinball in the machine all morning.
It's all balled up into one dictatorial mess right now, and we have to kind of pull it apart.
Yes.
So listen, Matt Gaetz is unqualified. He's a hack. He's dangerous. And I actually think this was a bit of a ploy to try to give him cover so he can say, oh, I'm going to be nominated to be AG. I have to resign from Congress right now. Well, guess what, Steph? Marco Rubio was nominated for a cabinet position. He didn't resign. Stephanie Nafaz, what the hell's her name? Elise Stefanik was nominated. She didn't instantly resign.
Of course, to outrun the ethics report. I mean,
Gaetz instantly resigned to try to bury the ethics report, but it will see the light of day. I just don't think Matt Gaetz' nomination will continue to see the light of day. He'll withdraw at some point when the ethics report has been buried in that way. The Senator Cornyns of the world won't get to see it. All of these games that are being played by Donald Trump are just distractions. But here's the thing. I think because of the disarray right now inside the Republican Party, particularly in the Senate, because Trump is appointing dangerous hacks, people who will do affirmative damage to the American people, the Senate is not going to go into recess.
Stephanie Miller.
Brought a visual prop for those of you watching on Free Speech TV to explain the American voter. Okay, what did I just say about Bonnie? So I was worried about Bonnie over the weekend because she eats things like this in the yard. It's like a tiny...
It looks like an avocado.
Avocado.
Like a seed almost.
Yes. So she didn't eat all day yesterday. You're in that, do I go to the vet? Do I not go to the vet? Like she seems otherwise healthy, but she's not eating anything, even her treats, nothing.
Her little belly was full with
that. Because she eats these, and I tell her, don't eat that because then you can't have the biscuits and the grease peas and the Dr. Maury's. Because you got to rumble tumble. So we had that conversation, Chris, all weekend.
All right.
What did I just find right there? What did I just find? This is the American voter. You already got a sick stomach. Trump, you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. And this is you. This is you. It's a not on avocado nut or whatever.
It doesn't look like
nicely
an avocado.
done.
It looks like an avocado that hasn't quite grown up yet.
Oh.
Like it fell from the tree too early. Like it's a bad avocado.
It's an immature. It's an immature avocado that
just
does
like,
fart
much
jokes.
like you are.
Yeah. And can I just tell you what Bonnie's farts are like after she eats stuff in the yard like that?
Why is it Bonnie? Why isn't it Clyde? I would expect that from Clyde.
You got some schmutz in
I don't
your
know
hair.
what your implication is, and I'm ignoring you. To my point, anxious opposition says there will be a day in the not so distant future when all the people currently bragging about their big win will come to the brutal realization that we all lost. Yeah, guess what? All the liberal elites that you hate, they're still going to be in their mansions in Malibu and
Or in
Hamptons,
Tuscany,
and then you'll realize
or
that they were fighting for all of us.
in Switzerland or wherever
yeah.
else that they can fly to.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Rude. Oh, I'll save that for Rude Pundit.
Oh, okay. He's coming up in just a little bit.
Yes, Trump has fallen below 50% of the popular vote. His margin of victory is the third smallest since 1888. Excuse me. If the 238,000 votes in the blue wall states had been different, he would have lost. Not a mandate. Tristan Snell said the same thing. Not a mandate. That is that is a squeaker. Anita and San, just because this is what they count on, is for you to feel defeated and depressed and like you're the one that's out of touch. Hello, Anita in San Antonio.
Good morning.
Good
I
morning.
just have to say, I'm in the Chris is wrong camp.
Thank you. Well,
And I'm
we all
wearing my
are.
Chris is
We're
wrong
all,
t-shirt.
and in so few areas
Yeah.
of it being united in
Aw.
this country, that is one.
You're the one who bought a
Well,
Chris is wrong shirt.
The
Okay.
one.
Well, I bought a Chris is right. I bought the Chris is wrong and the Chris is right.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
But the point
Just
is-
in case.
Aw, you-
Just to hedge your bets.
You always hold out
Just in
hope.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on the day. But yeah, no, telling people the truth is not talking down to them. Lying to them is talking down to them.
Yeah.
We tried. I mean, it's like Hillary Clinton when she told those miners that the coal is
Thank you.
disappearing. They're coal jobs. And
Thank
yet,
you. No,
they
and
hated
Kamala
her for
Harris
that.
did talk about prices and prices being too high. She wasn't one saying everything's fine and you're wrong. The prices aren't bad. She absolutely
That's
talked
right.
about it.
She put out plans to try to combat that. Donald Trump didn't do that. He would always talk down to them. He didn't respect his voters. He doesn't respect the American people. And why should he? Because we elect a,
Yeah, he talks down
criminal
to
who didn't
everybody
have
that's
any
not a
policy.
rich white, billionaire man.
Yep.
It's anyway.
right.
All right.
And I didn't like you. I honestly, Chris, I didn't like the fact that you congratulated your friend for, getting this guy elected. He's a criminal and a sexual predator.
Yeah, that's
Well, that's between me and my friend. It's not between you and him. Okay.
Well, I get it. I
All right.
understand that, but
All right,
it
Anita.
bothered me.
Okay. Then
So don't be
then
mad at me.
you're bothered. Whatever.
all right. Anita and Chris are having a spat, which spares
Mommy and
me.
Daddy aren't fighting, but Auntie Anita
I
and Daddy
don't
are
care. I don't
fighting.
care how you feel about it, Anita.
She's one
It's
of the-
between me and my friend.
She's one of the Thanksgiving aunts that just dropped in. It's like, awkward. By the way, I so enjoyed the 5,000th analysis of the bro culture that we need to better understand. Can I just use one word? It's a little rapey. Bro culture. It's not
Very
like young
rapey.
guys interviewed. Yeah, kind of rapey.
Very rapey.
A little creepy, a little rapey. Okay. 29 minutes after the hour, Stephanie Miller Show.
I mean, the new economic says we start by saying both parties really shafted a lot of folks in America, that we had the offshoring of industry. Consider Western Pennsylvania. It used to make more steel than Japan and Germany combined during World War II. Today, America makes 4% of the steel. We let aluminum industry leave America. We let the textile industry leave America. And at the same time, you're seeing $12 trillion of market value in Silicon Valley, AI and technology, Apple and Google. And so folks are wondering, they're saying, it's hard for me to buy a house. It's hard for me to make the daily bills and expenses. I don't know my kids are going to have a better life. The politicians hollowed out a lot of the industry in America. Why should I trust them? And then we come in and say everything is strong and great, and it's not true. Now we can say that it took 50 years to break this. It's going to take more than 4 years to rebuild it. and we have actual ideas of how to build new factories. You got to have government investment and financing in it. You can't just give tax cuts. You can't do what Donald Trump did, which is give tax cuts to companies that are moving offshore, where you get less of a corporate tax to put up a plant in Mexico, 10%, than tax if you put up the plant in Wisconsin, which is 21%. But before we get to all of the policies, we have got to first feel people and understand that they feel that the system hasn't worked. And I think if we do that, we can start to break through, and then we have to be the party that has the better ideas, the more modern ideas to get them to feel like we could make a difference.
Dear Ma and Pa MAGA, Donald Trump didn't lower your taxes. He didn't get your roads fixed or your bridges built. He didn't get you health care coverage, didn't lower the price of your prescriptions, decrease the deficit and the opioid crisis, revive the coal industry. He didn't make COVID disappear, didn't make Mexico pay for the wall, didn't put America first, and he sure as hell didn't drain the swamp. So when you say he fought for you, you mean he validated your hate, because he didn't do a goddamn thing for you other than that. He hates who you hate. And sadly, that's all you think you need.
I don't know about you, but the Democratic Party is starting to feel like an X. You look at them and you say, I know there was something I used to like. Did I change? Did they change? Well, I think all of the above is true. But now that Donald Trump has won the election, it's starting to feel like a really messy breakup. They want to blame everyone but themselves. It had nothing to do with them. It's the white woman who voted for Trump, the Latino voters. Kamala Harris is like, I don't understand. I was going to help you buy your first house. What happened? My advice for the Democratic Party over the next 4 years is take a deep dive. How crazy did the Democratic Party have to look for the majority of the country to vote for someone like Donald Trump? Come on, guys. Get your head on straight and stop getting high with people like AOC, and maybe you'll figure it out by 2028.
I'm worried about Steve Bannon because the man looks like an alcoholic Thom. Have you seen this guy? He looks like a sack of pus that developed rickets. He looks like gout that caught gout. The man does not look well. Yeah, that's Steve Bannon, the one who was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht and indicted by a federal grand jury for wire fraud and money laundering because he was ripping off Trump supporters donating to his Build the Wall campaign, and then Trump pardoned him for ripping off his own MAGA faithful. I'm just worried because Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was up watching porn till 6:45 a.m. and his alarm was set for 7. He looks like the guy in the office that HR has to physically give a deodorant stick to after one too many coworker complaints. He looks like a diseased leprechaun freebasing in the Port Authority bus terminal men's room. But we need to put aside our petty differences and recognize that this is clearly a fellow human being who is in pain. Can we do that? Because he looks like the guy in the zombie movie who doesn't want the other survivors to know he got bit.
Rude, hi. Good morning.
Hi.
So, by the way, we're just speaking. I don't know about you. I enjoyed the 11 billionth analysis on TV this weekend of the bro culture and how we might better understand a bunch of rapey douchebags. So, I'm sorry. Was that talking down to people? Rudeness.
Why do you watch these panel
Can I
shows?
just say something about this talking down to people thing?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to put it another way. It is treating people like adults that need to take responsibility for the decisions they make.
Thank you.
And you know what? If you make a stupid decision, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I need to understand that. Oh, I need to understand so I make sure. Oh, I'm going to say you made a stupid decision. It's probably because you're a stupid person.
It's just, Jody and I were just saying, I'm sorry, it has a rapey vibe. It has a rapey vibe. It also, by the way, has a really... Okay, all right, everybody. It has a rapey vibe. It also has a very homophobic vibe, right? It's very like, the opposite of the dude bro is, you must be feminine. You must be an F word for gay man. I mean, you just tweeted or threaded, looking forward to a whole bunch of bros under 26 years old discovering they can't be covered by their parents' health insurance once Obamacare is repealed. I mean, maybe pay attention a little bit to what the actual issues are and not just what makes you feel macho, right?
Yeah. Next time you're so dehydrated from drinking too much that you end up in the emergency room, that bill's going to really open your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, can I take a moment to say this has been commented on before. I am a lesbian, but I'm very bad at it. I love men. If you've noticed, my entire professional life, a lot of my personal life, the people closest to me are men. I don't hate men, but I just think there is, I can't put my finger on it, but it's not, it's not a coincidence that there's 2 rapists already in the administration. And what is Pete Hedges? So the latest news is that sexual assault, he paid her off. Yeah. I mean, it's just...
No. She assaulted him.
Oh, right. She's the aggressor. Related. So in Trump world, the woman's always the lying whore, right?
Yeah. No. I hate men. Just to put that out there. Because I just think... I hate the men that make the rest of men look bad.
Yeah.
Stay straight, doesn't matter. There are too many men out there that just make men look bad. And I'm not saying not all men. I'm saying that men need to take responsibility for other men. Men need to be talking to other men about how not to be a-holes.
Yeah. I mean, and it just, retweeted a lot of stuff that we've been talking about here. The headline, Trump's pro-Israel cabinet pick upsets Muslims who voted for him. And you said, how many times does Trump have to say you knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in, before people believe him? I mean, I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to be the party of empathy. I have a hard time. He didn't hide it. He told you he was going to let Netanyahu finish the job, quote unquote. I mean, talked about deporting Palestinians, talked about deporting Gaza protesters. I mean,
yeah. And now with him saying that he's going to declare a national emergency and because of an invasion of immigrants that'll allow him to use the military to do the deportations. That's he agreed. Somebody put that over on Truth Toilet, and he reflushed it. Yeah, let me go with that. He said no. He reposted it saying true. That's his plan.
Yeah.
So there you go. He's going to unleash the U.S. military on U.S. soil because of an invasion of families trying to get their kids out of a dangerous situation.
And can I just say, Jen Psaki actually did a great thing on the trans issue this week. We didn't run on that. They did. We didn't run on culture wars and wokeness. They spent $150 million on an anti-trans ad to make you feel like this is some huge problem in everyone's life. I mean, Jen Psaki went state by state. There's like one girl playing sports. Like what?
Yeah. In Idaho.
Right? I mean, it's just the fact that they were able to make that another issue to fearmonger and divide and make people hate somebody and scapegoat somebody for their life. Like, here you are, right?
Yeah. And, I think there's a few people that have said, why not point out how obsessed with children's genitals people on the right are?
Yeah.
They talk about children's genitals all the time. But I also say this: I think that Harris did a disservice to herself by not having not talking about trans issues, because what that did is it ceded everything to what they were saying. In other words, her silence in some ways made it that what they were saying was right, because Kamala doesn't even want to talk about it.
A lot of people saying the ad that was most effective is they're for them, we're for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like them. the
Yeah.
whatever people I don't understand, trans people. I mean, I thought you said it best here, Rude. I opened the show talking about your you reposted the woman at the what do you call it? It's a school board meeting.
School board
just
meeting,
saying the R word for a mentally disabled person over and over again. And someone tries to interrupt. She's like, "You're not going to police my speech." I mean, a lot of this election was just people voted for I get to be my worst self. Because Trump is, and I can yell the N word at people and tell them where to go pick cotton and yell the F word at gay men. And I can, where is it? What did you say to this? Hang on, hold please. I think I highlighted everything you said this weekend. I
So
just
that's
want you to
difficult
know
then
that.
to find what you're looking for.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, well, now that by the way,
What's the point of highlighting?
yeah, might as well
Not do it at all.
not highlight things. And,
Probably better.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Here it is. No, you just Aaron Rupert posted it and said classy stuff at the latest school board meeting in my hometown of Forest Lake, Minnesota. Same town Seth is from. These people are more emboldened than ever to be their absolute worst selves. And you said they really think freedom of speech means freedom to say things without consequences. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And this was not about her saying the R word. This was about her child being told not to say it in school.
Right.
And that was like, that's just the word, it's a word that we always said. And
so disingenuous. And they, retard flames. Oh, you're not going to stop me from saying it. That's not what you mean.
That's not what she meant.
You don't mean
yeah.
a flame retardant. That's not what you, and you know damn well.
Or a musical, because that's in music as well.
I mean, I mean, Rude, that's what I'm saying. It's just, you can't tell me this was all about the price of whatever. By the way, with people's obsession with bacon and eggs, I am concerned about everyone's cholesterol. What is happening?
Yeah. It is. I mean, that was the cover. It's sort of like we get back to, oh no, they voted for Trump in 2016 because of the anxiety of the white working class, and it's like. Yeah, no, but that anxiety was not an anxiety about economic issues, or certainly that took a back seat to their anxiety that people not like them might actually have a chance to make it in this country.
Yeah. By the way, you got into it with Justine Bateman. I saw on Twitter because I don't know. Oh, we can breathe now. The Trump's back in, and we don't have to be, whatever she said.
This is a
right?
union person, by the way.
Woke police, and what? I'm like, really? When we just say don't call mentally disabled children retards, like that's us. Really, us saying don't use the N word to black people is us being woke and trying to be. I can't already. Really? You're a rich white lady, Justine Bateman. Like, oh, really? You can breathe now? Well, guess who can't breathe now? Why the Trevor Project's, what do you call it? Calls are through the roof. Mm-hmm. Because Chris and I have been doing this for 1,000 years. We get used to being called homophobic slurs every day. Guess who doesn't? Teenagers who go kill themselves.
It's been a while since somebody told me to go get AIDS and die. So I do have to give them that.
It'll be a minute.
The farther away we get from the 80s, I suppose.
Well, I guess time heals everything.
Too. I remember leaving the club in Louisiana, and there'd always be a pickup truck outside with all these guys there, just waiting for the club to close for when we came out, and so that they could yell things at us and throw bottles at our feet and things like that. Good times, ready to go back to that.
God, so we've been talking about Joe and Mika going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring Friday. Trust me, if you think that's what MSNBC viewers want to hear about,
please don't gulag me, Donald.
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Yeah, lots of our friends had thoughts about that. Dino Badala, Joe Scarborough's surrender to Trump is the final nail in the coffin of cable news. Ronald said, "Morning Joe jumped the shark." I mean, it really... And it is it's a circular, this is how we got here in the first place. The sane washing, the normalizing. I mean, by the way, you talked about the chief executive, he's of the fracking company is his pick for energy secretary. How's that feel? Let's ask a really important environmental lawyer. Hey, Bobby Kennedy, how do you feel about that? I mean, everyone has thrown their principles out for this monster, Rude.
Didn't you love? I love the photo of let's make Bobby Kennedy eat crap.
Yep.
For saying that Trump's diet isn't good. Come on, Bobby, you got to do it. You gotta do.
Dana Gould said Trump is going to name a sandwich the Sir Ham, and make Bobby eat it and smile.
Yep.
That's
awful.
funny.
That's
Okay,
funny,
that
but
is
that's
funny.
awful.
I wish you
good.
would come up with
That
That's
is
that.
very
really
dark
good.
but funny.
That's
Dark and funny.
That's so good. I'm jealous at how good it is.
Yes.
That was
Dana
good.
Gould is hilarious.
Oh my God.
And you know though, my strategy on RFK Jr.
What?
It's to have a PAC run a bunch of ads in red
Yes.
states showing that he's pro-choice.
Oh, Mike
And-
Pence is already on it for you. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Fight,
and
fight,
then,
fight.
but
Big
then
bag of
to
rats.
say, call your senator and tell them you don't want the pro-abortion RFK Jr. at HHS making policy. Use some freaking reverse psychology here.
Yeah.
Be a-holes. Be ruthless.
Yeah.
And what are we seeing? We're seeing Hakeem Jeffries tweet out, "We shall overcome." What?
Yeah.
We didn't. That's the problem.
Oh my God. By the way, so Chris Lavoie, who noted non-conspiracy theorist, I saw that you think that the Tulsi and Matt Gaetz nominations are just distractions so we can get other people. No, they're not. He is. I mean, literally, here we go. Right, Mitch McConnell's going no recess appointments. Right, but he's not in charge. John Thune said no recess appointments and then changed his mind a day later. This is all, and there's another story this morning about Trump is not going to back down. This is a test of who can eat the Sir Ham.
Haven't they committed some crimes in Maryland? Because Maryland has a Democratic governor. Arrest them for crimes in Maryland and hold them, and so that they can't be pardoned.
Yeah.
That's it. Tempt Matt Gaetz to commit a crime in Maryland. That to me is a good plan.
Yeah, you said John Bolton called Matt Gaetz the worst cabinet pick in American history, and you said John Bolton is an ultra-conservative maniac who loves war and hates humanity. Even he can't stomach Matt Gaetz. Still, John Bolton. I think we can all agree on that. But
yeah.
Yeah, you just said so. Like, could Trump just surrender the country to Putin wholesale, or does he need to do it bit by having Russian stooges do the Kremlin bidding bit by bit? I mean, someone saying cut out the middleman, just put Putin in charge of our national intelligence, right?
Yeah. If you're going to have Tulsi Gabbard, yeah. I mean, there's nobody with any serious intelligence credentials on the left or right who thinks that Tulsi Gabbard should be in charge there.
Yeah. Well, you said, by the way, Trump's nominees aren't an assault on the federal government; they're an assault on the United States. And with RFK Jr., it's an assault on all Americans, as you said, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, and by the way, you said if Democrats out there screaming about the Gates report like it's Hunter Biden's laptop times 100, they should just say they give up. I agree. Are you kidding me? To be the Attorney General of the United States, you're gonna let Mike Johnson go, oh no, that would be rude to release that.
Yeah. And then also it already seems like they're doing what they do, which is, well, we really need to let Republicans do this because people will say we're just playing politics, and it's like, yeah, that's the game you're in. You're in politics. Play it.
Yeah. Oh, you have some. These are very helpful because you're a liberal helper. Some tips for Joe and Mika and others. You retweeted on Newsmax. Monica Crowley says about Trump's cabinet nominations, we have not seen this kind of talent pool since the founding fathers. And you said, you can kiss Trump's ass without fingering his prostate.
You're allowed.
I think that's a good tip.
Allowed.
Yeah, because
Yeah. I mean, it takes a certain, bit
skill.
of contortion to do that. But,
Yeah. All right. So we all been talking about what we watch to disconnect from politics because we all desperately need it. You said, I got to say, the Penguin on Max made me understand Trump more than just about anything else. The fake populism, the ability to betray people on a dime, the desperate greed to fulfill some pathetic goal, the ease with which people follow him despite how awful he is, it's all there. See, I don't call that entertainment. I call that reality.
That's not escape from
no,
reality.
I don't.
What is that?
It was like Travis telling me to watch Handmaid's Tale. I'm like, what? For entertainment?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it was really well done, and the acting was great, and just the comic book stuff in it was.
This
great.
is why I watch awful Christmas music about a woman, snowman, and whatever that other psychotic Christmas elf guy is.
Was it the carrot? Did she get on the carrot?
Oh
was
my
it
goodness! Rude Louise,
snowman
pundit.
He turned into a real boy, didn't he?
No, he turns into a real boy. Yeah.
Hot Frosty? Frosty becomes a real boy?
Yes.
Just like Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Does the carrot stay though? So because the woman likes.
You know what? I just get out. Just get out.
No, Rude. It's more like an ice dildo.
Get out.
Okay.
You know
yeah,
what?
Okay.
I have all this
Wouldn't
fresh,
that melt
this
after
freshly.
a while, or would you just need to keep?
That was
adding
the
water to
thing.
it?
He was always in danger of melting.
Here's my show is a beautiful, freshly fallen, sparkly snow, and you know what you do? You two just write on it in pee. You just pee into my snow and make it dirty.
I didn't say pee.
Stop writing in my snow. All right, goodbye. Get out. 51 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show. Hey, thanks for the historical fun fact. You said, please report Matt Gaetz will not be the first high-ranking GOP child molester of the 21st century.
Well,
There's good old Denny Hastert.
Right. We forgot about him.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Don't
go.
forget the Hastert rule, guys. Let's enjoy the mugshot cabinet for as long as we can.
Here's a sliver of hope. You threaded, in fairness, hiring unqualified sycophants for government positions based on obedience historically tends to always work out really well. You know, I don't know what to hope for anymore, John, because he's literally doing everything he said he was going to do. Right. But I have to hope this. We're already getting these record number of just like interviews and social media of people that have regret, didn't know what they voted for. Like, oh my God, you have to hope that this overreaching is going to, and incompetence.
So what you're saying is it's collapsing before it even starts, and people are still depressed. Come on now, come on. It's time to shift from despair is privilege, okay? If you're rich enough that you could be on the couch and depressed for a year, God bless you. The rest of us need you back in the fight. What Donald Trump has begun this week is a process he's going to continue through January 20th of getting all of us knocked out of our stupor and back into the game here by having the most unqualified DEI cabinet of selfish grifters.
Thank you. DEI. I'm so glad you said that, right? They ran on, she's just a DEI.
They're all DEIs. It stands for deviant, extremist, and experience. That's it. They're all despicable extremists with no experience.
This is, I have to say, you're right. Then they're already having all this infighting over there, John. Like, the MAGA doesn't like Rubio and dear God,
Almost
right? And they all were like sending death threats to Thune and whatever the MAGA people because they wanted Rick Scott and
yes.
The coalition.
It's almost like having a bunch of corrosively selfish narcissists on the same team doesn't work out that well long term. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to congratulate Marco Rubio for being the next fired Secretary of State. And I want to remind everybody, recess appointment is how Matt Gaetz meets his dates during lunch period.
Yeah!
Hey!
That's my favorite joke of yours in a really long time.
Matt Gaetz was only trying to keep young people out of the hands of young people, okay? Okay? Don't judge all minors based on the ones who have sex with Matt Gaetz, please.
But to your point, two political scientists said the coalition of voters Trump assembled this year may not be durable in the years ahead. It seems to have great potential for a crack-up. He's made so many promises to so many constituencies of disaffected voters that trying to carry them out could wind up hurting the American economy. If he does what he says he's going to do, then yes. He might try to carry out his promise of deporting millions of illegal immigrants, a project that would not just wreak havoc among families and in communities, but also cause economic chaos or tariffs. Unlike Republican initiatives, tariffs, if successful, would work by imposing short-term costs and prices in order to achieve long-term gains in jobs from otherwise endangered industry. It's the short-term costs, another round of inflation, this time imposed by Trump, that might endanger the Republican coalition. Trump's dream of historic Republican realignment may not survive his second term. I mean, people are already saying, John, we were saying this morning, this is like America's Brexit already. People, the day of, were like Googling, what's a tariff? And wait, can I change my vote? And did Biden drop out?
Yeah, it's almost like when 9 million smart people stay home 4 years later, the dumb people get their way. And we're all realizing that we're going to have to deal with another 4 years of Vladimir Putin as our president. Now, I want to apologize, Stephanie, in advance.
Yes.
The entire sex worker community for the amount of time I'll be referring to this new cabinet as whores. But they all share the same pre-existing sedition. And Matt Gaetz is the first ever guy hired to be DOJ because he was so dirty they had compromat on him. And that's the only reason. Donald Trump would own the Department of Justice by controlling an easily blackmailed stooge. Now, everyone's despair and I get it, but you got to remember one thing. This is still the same narrative that's been playing out for my whole life. The only narrative I've ever seen in American politics is the Republicans pollute it and destroy it and are corrupt and wreck it, and then a Democrat gets called in to clean up the mess.
Yep.
My whole life, Jimmy Carter got in there because of Nixon. You got Bill Clinton there after 12 years of trickle down didn't work, and he balanced the budget and had a surplus. Then you got W, who I still think might be the worst president of all time, collapsed the entire economy. That gave us Barack Obama, who reduced the deficit and gave us the lowest rate of uninsured people ever.
Minutes after the hour, Randy Weingarten coming up next on the Stephanie Miller Show.
Stephanie Miller.
You say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. That's what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert won her new safely Republican seat by only half the margin of her Republican predecessors, but she is already back hard at work in Congress, laser focused on the issue that Coloradans sent her there to address: underwater space aliens. Boebert said, quote, "The American people are being kept in the dark." Her line of questioning was pretty out there.
There are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
I am not, ma'am.
I'm not.
No, ma'am.
What?
Does anyone think education might be a problem? Can underwater space aliens be controlled with Jewish space lasers?
Oh,
I know. Let's ask Randy Weingarten, the president of the American Federation of Teachers. Hi, good morning, Randy.
You're making her laugh.
Well, that's a good thing.
We are considerably less happy than when we ran into each other at the DNC, but hi, good morning.
Well, let's say that science should be rocking and rolling here.
Oh my God, Randy. Here's the vicious circle, we get into is liberals get accused of talking down to people and blah, blah, blah. And then, we are in this horrible place we are in where people have voted against their self-interest again. And I don't know what, if there's one definitive answer, but, you tweeted about Florida's average SAT scores have dropped to 948 in 2024, wow. 18 points lower than last year, nearly 70 points lower than in 2017. Wow. The education state, as Ron DeSantis likes to call it, is now ranked 47th. I mean, these people, we're joking about playing Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but... someone was talking about Joe Rogan's influence, and he proudly says, "I'm just dumb. I don't really know anything." Go ahead.
Well, let me first off, thank you for having me on. And then there's, I could wax for a long time on what I think has happened here. But let me just say this. I do think, and I wrote this weekend in an op-ed. Al Shanker used to do an op-ed every week for the New York Times. I do it once a month. But I wrote in the op-ed, I do think it was the price of eggs. Yeah. I really, all of these other things are part of what's going on.
There's other factors.
It's
a perfect storm, but
and these folks, because Lauren Boebert was like this before the 2022 election, and she literally almost lost her race to Adam Frisch at that point by just a couple hundred votes, and then she moved to another place. I think that the issue is we have two realities. We have reality one, which, you and I try to live in. And then there is this kind of lack of fact-based reality, which Boebert and others live in. But most people who are non-college working class folk basically have been saying, not just through COVID, but before COVID, before the 2008 recession, before NAFTA, that what they want is to have a decent life for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
And the two charts that matter to me most in the post-election, gap fest has been, number one, that people who are poor voted for Trump, and number two, or more people who are poor voted for Trump. I don't have the chart in front of me. Number two, a Steve Ratner chart that showed that that more families now no longer make more money going forward than going backwards.
Right.
That our kids are making less money than we are. And so these two things, that America, what normally binds America together is that we believe that there's going to be opportunity that's better in the future than it was in the past, and that our kids will do better. And so when you see the price of gas or the price of eggs or the price of bacon or your groceries, that is a reality that's shared by a lot of people.
Right.
And so it was exploited by the Boberts and the others
Yeah.
of the world
But Randy,
to do something completely different than what it meant.
But let me just interrupt you for a moment. So I was reading a tweet. Do people really think the price of everything is going to magically drop in January? WTF is wrong with them. I would ask you about critical thinking skills. It's not just the disinformation that Trump won entirely on lies and on no plan at all for inflation. It's that why are people so prone to believe these lies?
Half the adults in America are not as literate as you and I would hope that they are. Half the adult illiteracy rate is about 50%. What you're saying right now is absolutely right. There's a whole lot of people that fear knowledge, and I would say that there's been a huge indictment of our education, of our test-based education system. In 2000, everybody, Bush, Kennedy, all of them were like, okay, just create test. What we need to do is project-based instruction. What we need to do is critical thinking. What we need to do is kids being able to discern right from wrong, and not right from wrong, but fact from fiction, understand context.
Yeah.
What we need to do is create joy in schools. So there is a huge indictment here of what we can do as school teachers in terms of being able to impart those skills. But I would say this, when fear and anxiety rule, as they did in terms of the price of eggs, it's hard to get through. And our job going through the next 2 years is to do exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
These things, root for the best, root for the price of eggs to go down. But already in the last month, the mortgage rate, the fixed mortgage rate for homes went up 1%. So already the market is saying that what Trump said in terms of reducing costs ain't going to happen. Already Musk has said, oh, no, we really shouldn't do tariffs. Why?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to compete with China. He wants to sell things in China. We have a big job to do going forward. But the one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't actually undermine what people really felt, which is they feel pain about not being able to get ahead for themselves and their families.
Right. But I guess, again, my point would be Kamala Harris did talk about that. She did talk about prices being too high and what she was going to do about it. Let me just, when I texted...
So Stephanie,
go ahead.
Look, the people who read the newspapers voted for Kamala Harris by +6. People who followed the race voted for her.
Yeah.
People who made their low propensity voters who made their minds up at the end, +19 Trump. So yes, she did, and I think she's fantastic.
Yeah.
But this whole notion of how we communicate with each other and how people actually hear what's being said, it's just something we have to learn.
Yep. So you retweeted Dr. Hotez, who said for years and in pandemic, he has targeted me, incited violence with me and my family with conspiracy nonsense because I made low-cost, patent-free COVID vaccines and other vaccines for the world, reaching 100 million people at $3 a dose. He is a hero. When I texted Dr. Erwin Redlener, who's our regular, about Bobby Kennedy's nomination, he said the ultimate to science, health, safety, and every American a living nightmare. I mean, it is. They're almost like proudly anti everything, expert, facts, science. I mean, what? I don't know how you inoculate our kids against that.
Well, I think what we do is we start with what we should be doing in schools, which is number one, we have an obligation to protect our kids and protect families. We have an obligation to fight for their dignity. That is what schooling is. Number two, we have to lift up what really works. And we have to transform schools so that every public school is a place that parents want to send their kids and educators want to work and kids thrive. So they're going to be doing all this stuff here, and we're going to be working on the local level through our communities, because look what happened in terms of down ballot races.
Yeah,
it was almost as if there were two different worlds.
Thank you. And you said that Americans voted in state after state to protect public education and funding for public services. They elected school board candidates who see public education as a pathway to opportunity. I mean, part of what I think we have to continue to fight, Randy, I'm sure you saw this, the clip of the mom at the school board meeting who continually said the word retard and said, "You're not going to police my speech." That she was telling her kid it's okay. So when we have the biggest bully we've ever seen as president of the United States, how do you teach your children? Now we have, texts going out to black people about where to show up to pick cotton. We have texts going out to Hispanic people and gay people about, being deported and going to re-education camps. I mean, how do you teach kids in this environment of hate that it's still not okay? Go ahead.
The number one, we do what Tim Snyder said. I have a very worn copy of Snyder's book. Let me see if I can find it.
My friend JoJo from Jers is obsessed with him. We've got to get him on.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my very, very worn copy of it. It says on tyranny.
Yeah.
Which is you don't obey in advance. And you be as courageous as you can. But there's a third piece, which is we create community. And when you create community, and I'm not just talking about creating communities within our tribes, create communities cross-tribe, create community cross-generationally, create community cross-ethnically, cross-gender. When we start creating community and being with our families, being with our schools, then we start having not just a fight back, but a fight forward.
Yep.
And I think that's what schooling is.
Yeah.
And that is what we will do. And you're not, when you see a bully, you try to stop a bully.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that you stop a bully is if all the other people around start saying to the bully, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing it?" You're not going to stop Donald Trump that way. He is the best marketer in the world. He is like Reagan, like FDR. He has a skill that is probably, Molly Fast said this, it's probably unique in this generation.
Yeah.
But in terms of the rest, look what we have done in terms of schooling. Look what Moms for Liberty. I mean, one of the things I chuckled about in the last few days is that Steve Bannon on his podcast.
I was just going to mention this.
Tiffany
There's silver
Justice
lining
on, saying, "Why did you lose?" Well, why did they lose? Because the people around children basically said, "No, I don't want that." Now, they didn't say that in terms of the national election with the great marketer, but they said that locally. So we build up locally, and we do what works. So I have one more thing to say, which is one of the things I have tried to get the Biden administration to do a lot. And, they recognized it on Thursday when we had a career, or Wednesday when we had this classroom to career event at the White House, is that we need to transform high schools. 60% of kids do not go to college.
Yeah.
We need to bring the jobs, the opportunities, the apprenticeships into high school.
Yeah.
Stackable credentials like we're doing
Yeah.
with Micron in Syracuse. We
Yep.
need to change high schools to be about more projects and less tests.
All right.
More relational, more critical thinking.
All right, we've gone way long, so I better get extra
Sorry.
credit. You were grading those papers. I better get a gold star. Do you know how long I went with you? I love you. Goodbye,
You
Randy.
got a gold star.
Yes. Thank you so much, Randy.
Thank you.
I had a Catholic school sweat when she had
Yeah.
a big sheath of papers. I'm like, is mine in there? How did I do? This portion of the show brought to you by... Golly. Hi, Fernand.
Hey, Mama, how are you?
Well, as I say, MSNBC analyst, University of Miami professor. If my professors looked like you at USC, I would be so much smarter today, Fernand. But host of Strange Days podcast, which, wow, that's well named.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we nailed that one, didn't we?
Well, you know, you are a pollster, and here we are again, right? Where everyone's going, wow, all the polls and pundits were wrong, you know. And again, not you know, everything was close, obviously it looked like, but clearly, you know, that's when people say to me, oh, you're just in your liberal bubble, that's why you thought she was going to win. It's like, no, first of all, I don't stay in my liberal bubble, and secondly, everyone thought she was going to win. A lot of prominent Republicans, a lot of pollsters, a lot of pundits. I mean, what has been your reaction since then, and et cetera?
Well, I mean, candidly, depression, depravity, right? all of the stages of grief. I think I haven't quite gotten to acceptance yet. I think that's coming. But look, I think you're right. The polls certainly did indicate that there was a good chance that she was going to win last Tuesday. Although they also were, Stephanie, stubbornly close, a lot closer than I think any of us were comfortable with. The fact that the race was even close at all, given how unhinged and how off the beaten path Trump had acted over the last 3 months, and especially 3 weeks, I think was a worrying sign. But look, it is what it is. He has won. These are dark days for our country. I am unfortunately not going to come on here and tell you that everything is going to be okay, because I don't know how things are going to be. And unfortunately, if past this prologue, I think they're going to be really, really, really bad.
Can I say this is why people like this show better than mainstream media? Because Fernand's like, well, I'm sniffing glue. How about you? People don't like try to, you know, TV it up for our show. Yeah, you said this election, the most critical, important in our lifetime, was fundamentally about what kind of country and what kind of people we actually are. And I'm afraid now we have our answer. We always said that, right? It's not about who he is. We know who he is. It's about who we are. And, you know, your other tweet was so interesting. You said, forgive them, founding fathers. They know not what they do. I think they do, Fernand. I mean, that's what's depressing.
You know, in some respects, I think they do, Stephanie.
Right.
But when they actually see what's coming and the horror show and the nightmare that's going to become reality, remember, these are the good days right now. You know, Joe Biden's still the president. So, like,
this one, it's still funny.
About how bad and anxious and sleepless your nights are. Wait 2 months from now, then it gets real fun. But I don't think they're going to realize what they have done until it really starts to hit the fan. And that's going to happen within the first 2 to 6 weeks of when he takes power again.
Yeah. So, Fernand, I'm about done with my analysis of circular firing squad and who's to blame and what went wrong and yada yada. But we've got Chris Lavoie here. There are Chris is right and Chris is wrong T-shirts available at StephanieMiller.com.
And the Chris is right outsells the Chris is wrong ones.
Well, this is why Donald Trump is going to be president. You know, again, I still claim disinformation is the biggest problem. You know, it's the right wing, not just Fox News, not about right wing radio and podcasts. Because again, I keep saying it's not like anything we've ever been through, is it, Fernand? We didn't lose on issues. Americans still agree with progressive abortion measures. Still won in state after state. He won on a solid wall of lies. That, you know, I don't know how you suggest Democrats counter. I mean, other than what we did. No, Haitians aren't eating dogs and cats. No, FEMA's not taking your money and giving it to illegal immigrants. No, they're not doing transgender surgery on your kid in school without your permission. I mean, talk to us just what your take was on all that.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think you're wrong in suggesting that the information landscape that we're now in is just completely anathema and anachronistic to what Democrats have been used to basically since the founding of mass communications, right? And they need to blow that up, Stephanie. They need to understand that there are millions upon millions of voters that are living in self-created silo information bubbles where they're curating and they're getting specific types of information.
Yep.
They're unfortunately not all listening to the Stephanie Miller Show.
Stephen Beschloss coming up soon. To our conversation with Randy, the head of the teachers union, Dan, talking about the Joe Rogan secret. Steph, I'm a decades-long fan of yours, never miss a show, so much so I won't schedule or accept meeting invites at work that start before 9 a.m. Eastern.
Oh.
I think that is a rule to live by.
I agree.
That's the golden rule. There's been all this talk about Joe Rogan and his influence on young men, but there seems to be something missing from the discussion. Joe Rogan doesn't have an overtly political show. It's truly just a guy who portrays himself as a working-class everyman who admits openly he's not that bright. That's something to aspire
that is
to.
kind of one of his refrains, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has right-leaning politicians on from time to time, has rambling conversations with them, asks them a few usually dumb questions, the sort of questions his audience might ask. When they respond, he doesn't usually challenge them much, says something like, that sounds reasonable, but what do I know? That's it. That's the genius of his subtle persuasion. There's a million guys out there who are nodding their heads in agreement. Shows like yours, Thom's, John's, Frangela are vital to counterbalancing what's on the right. They provide a community for politically engaged liberals. Like you, I wish there was more exposure and better infrastructure, but I also wish there was a non-political show that was subversively left, hosted by a guy. I'm afraid it's going to have to be a guy. I'm fine. In the patriarchy, I'm fine. Like Rogan.
Are you?
The mushball middle, especially in their 20s and 30s, seem terrified of anything being overtly political. They may have liberal-leaning views at the end of the day, but I don't think they're all that comfortable with left or right-oriented programming. They're comfortable with a guy who doesn't even pretend to be the smartest kid in the room, someone who's not going to bombard them with facts but might be able to steer them along. I don't know that those guys, if Kamala Harris had gone on his show, were suddenly going to go, yeah, I'm going to vote for the black lady. Because I'm just telling you, in all the interviews I've seen, Jody, I don't know if you've watched them, it is rife with, is rapey the right word? Just misogyny?
That's all of the above.
Homophobia, like this is sort of dude bro. I mean, one person I would say is, listen to, who am I thinking? Mark Maron.
Mark Maron.
Who is left, but also same thing. Like his show is not necessarily political. And that's why I think our show is wildly popular. Fart jokes, D jokes, jokes about whale, fecal
matter.
plumes,
Yeah.
bears.
Kayaks and bears.
29 minutes after the hour.
of UAPs emerging from or submerging into our water, which could indicate a base or presence beneath the ocean's surface.
I don't know about a base, but a different source entirely described this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of an orb coming out of the ocean and being met by another orb.
And it seems like there's still some questions that we need answers to, and we will not relent until we get those to the American people.
Forward clearly left the hearing without her answers on aliens, but said that she is looking forward to working with the incoming Trump administration to get to the bottom of this alien hybrid human thing and those underwater alien cities.
Underwater.
She saw The Abyss way too many times.
Or Aquaman. Who's that guy? He's hot.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, he's hot. Did we get more of him?
I think he was married to Lisa Bonet at one point.
He was.
Oh, yes. That's maximum hotness. Okay.
And her ex-husband is friends with him.
Oh, okay.
John tweets
Her
the
other
colossal nerve of these holes to talk about DEI hires when Trump is nominating the most blatantly unqualified cabinet in American history. Yeah. Okay. Oh, by the way, Randy brought up Tim Snyder. We've got to get him on. JoJo from Jersey is obsessed with him. He wrote the book on, literally wrote the book on autocracy.
Oh.
He said, imagine you are a foreign leader who wishes to destroy the United States. How could you do so? The easiest way to be to get Americans to do the work themselves, to somehow induce Americans to undo their own health, law, administration, defense, and intelligence. From this perspective, Trump's proposed appointments, Kennedy Jr., Gates, Musk, Ramaswamy, Gabbard, are perfect instruments. They combine narcissism, incompetence, corruption, sexual incontinence, personal vulnerability, dangerous convictions, foreign influence, as no group before them has done. These proposed appointments look like decapitation strike, destroying the American government from the top, leaving the body politic to rot and the rest of us to suffer. I do not defend the status quo. I have no doubt whatsoever the Department of Defense and FDA require reform, but such reform of these or other agencies would have to be guided by people with knowledge and experience who cared about their country, who had a vision of improvement. That is simply not what's happening here. We are confronted instead with a group of people who, were they to hold the positions they have been assigned, could bring an end to the United States of America. It sure looks like that. I mean, okay. Let's go to Karen in Chicago, my boo-foo.
Yes, all of that.
Thank you. All of
what
this.
You just said. Everything
Me, all
you
of
just
this.
said. And all of this. And, yes, I totally agree. And I've been talking about Timothy Snyder and, talking about the importance of building communities. This is one big community, the Steph Head community. And I have to say, too, we have to, keep in mind, in Texas, the maternal death rate has gone up 56%.
Yeah.
My good friend of the show, Anita from San Antonio's daughter, along with thousands and thousands of other women in Texas, are not able to access gynecological care because everybody is leaving. So this has been going on for 2 years. You couple that with the heartbreak of what just happened with this election, the anxiety that everybody is feeling. Chris, my darling, you have every right to have whatever conversations with your friends and congratulate them, but just please, with love, I just want to say this to you. Understand the audience that's hearing that. It feels a little bit like a lack of consideration and a little bit disrespectful. And then to say what you said to Anita, and you can say you don't care about what I had to say either, but to say what you said to Anita, I don't think that was fair. And I think that was talking down to her a little bit. We are all under anxiety. And yes, you can have whatever conversations you want. Nobody's saying that you can't. But when you have an audience and you say to 6 million of us who are out here dealing with just thinking about what's to come, please understand where we're coming from too.
And this is very awkward for me defending Chris. I just think that you've heard my whole journey with my mom. My mom was a Fox News watching Trump voter, but she's my mom, and she got, as Alzheimer's when she got older. What I'm saying is we're all going to have to make our own decisions about our family and friends, and whatever Chris's relationship is with his friend is his business. My friend Marcia went to visit her MAGA relatives in Dallas this weekend. I left her a message. I'm like,
Listen,
this is the sexy
I
liberal
understand
evacuation
that.
team. Do you need an evacuation from Texas?
Yeah.
And she was talking about the
Yeah.
make Dallas great again hats and just, you know, but
Yeah, and I
again,
don't
they're
mean
her
to-
relatives
Chris-
and she, you know,
Yes.
they've decided just not to talk politics.
Yeah, no, and I just, all I'm saying is this, and is that, it feels, I mean, we are all feeling this right now. And so, just, yes, everybody has to navigate it the way they need to navigate it, but just understand where we're coming from and that how it may fall on all of us.
It's how it felt
To
when
hear that,
Joe and
it's
Mika
just
said they went to Mar-a-Lago to
Right.
try. It's just, it's, and again, this is
right,
something,
and
but-
it feels,
right. It just feels
yeah,
like,
again,
oh my
it
God.
feels the same, yeah, exactly.
This
and it
is not
feels
about
the same
politics
way,
anymore.
Yeah, no, it isn't. It isn't, and it's happening in Florida. It's been happening in Florida with PragerU. It's been. This is going to be a national thing now. So, I just, with love, Chris. I love you. You know that. I don't. I hope you know that. But it just understand how it's felt
But
with a lot.
Karen,
of
here's
people out
to your
there.
point. Actually, Dennis Prager, you didn't like me running into the airport, running into
I
him at the
didn't.
airport and taking
I
a
still
picture
don't.
and a video. Okay, but again, he was a colleague of mine and Chris's back in the '90s, and was, you know, I of course I abhor everything he stands for politically, but he was a colleague that was nice to us when we worked together. I'm not going to like kick him in the balls if I run into him in an airport, you know. So I think we all have to navigate these things how we navigate them, because everybody's relationship, like I was saying, if there's people in, let's just say, my family that I don't have a relationship with anymore, it's because they were despicable for other reasons, but before they got to voting for Trump, you know, and
Right.
so
Well, and I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to probably go on Christmas, and I'm still trying to figure that out with my in-laws, because to me, their vote just said that they don't really care about my child. They don't really, so all of this lip service that they've been paying to me about my son being who he is.
Yeah.
Now am
it's
I to believe that they didn't hear that and they still voted for that?
yeah, it's personal for a lot of us. Honey,
You
hang in
know?
there. We love you, and we love Chris. Okay, see what I said there? Chris Hayes tweeted, just to be clear, the incoming Trump administration is going to war against their own Republican Senate majority and the Constitution's advice and consent provision so they can make a man investigated for sex trafficking a minor into the most powerful law enforcement officer in the country. This is not about just politics anymore. This is just basic decency. Our friend Olivia Troy said Russian mouthpieces, puppy killers, sexual predators, no true background checks, testing the loyalty of the Republican Senate to the, testing the loyalty of the Republican Senate to the safety and security of Americans and the Constitution. These are, a lot of people are rightfully terrified about what is happening. Oh, what's the latest thing I heard? They're going to do private background checks, not through the FBI.
Right.
They're going to
Right.
hire private companies.
Right.
How do you think those background checks are going to go? Oh, everything's clear. Everything's good because it's a private company. We paid to do the back. Oh my God. Okay. Elon Musk tweeted, there will be consequences for those who pushed foreign interference hoaxes. The hammer of justice is coming. David Korn said, hey, Elon Musk, guess who confirmed that Russia attacked the 2016 election to help Trump and noted Trump helped Putin get away with it? Oh, Marco Rubio and Elise Stefanik. Read all about it here. This is literally not just the upside down. It is George Orwell. It's, I don't even know what. This one made me laugh, at least. Someone tweeted a picture of Marco Rubio and Bobby Kennedy and just put Marco Polio.
yeah. That's funny.
That's a good one.
That's a new pool game for the kids.
That's funny.
It's
I like
funny.
that. That's clever.
It
Isn't that funny until a bunch of kids die of polio and then it's not anymore? Okay.
Didn't Mitch McConnell have polio?
He did.
Yes, as a child.
yeah.
did.
So, yeah.
Someone
Is
tweeted.
he gonna confirm RFK?
No.
Franklin tweets the person who called Matt Gaetz a DUI hire.
That's a good one.
He's a DUI hire. Get it? Because he also forgot about DUI because of the sex trafficking on the minors. I forgot about that. He was also drunk drove. Okay. It's not important now. Okay. Michael in North Carolina. Hi, Mike.
Mama Louise Miller, must you and JoJo from Jers works so blue.
Yes.
That
Oh.
happy hour was really something.
Yeah, I go back and get it if I were you. Go check your happy hour.
Yeah,
your
it's still in
podcast.
the archives of the happy hour.
Anyway, Matt Gaetz, when his Attorney General nomination finally gets scuttled, and he's not going to go crawl under a rock. He's going to go back to the House.
He already resigned. No,
he would have to be reelected.
He already resigned the House. Oh, by the way, someone tweeted here. Where are we? Oh, Catherine tweeted. Now, whenever I go to the grocery store and pass the egg section, a tiny little voice in my head goes, "I can't even look at you right now. I swear to God."
Don't blame the eggs.
I sent that to JoJo from Jersey, and she called eggs the C word.
Don't blame the eggs.
That's just funny. I've never heard anyone call eggs the C word, but JoJo from Jersey somehow was able to pull it off. Okay. Speaking of which, Scarborough said Trump is Hitler and a serial rapist, and Trump said Joe left Congress because he murdered his staffer. Let's put that all behind us now and chill, because the show must go on. I'm telling you, this is all related to where is it, Jody? Hold, please.
I don't know what you do with your stuff over there.
Mass layoffs expected at CNN. Ratings plunge at MSNBC. This is Christopher. Younger people aren't watching televised media. Legacy outlets lost much of the rest of us by ditching real journalism. We stood by as they boosted Trump election night, the final straw. I'm telling you, this is not going to get people back sucking up to Donald Trump.
Not to get too inside baseball with this, but Comcast, which owns Universal,
NBC,
MSNBC, NBC Network, NBC News, all of that, they are looking at spinning off all of their cable interests.
Yeah.
Which would include MSNBC, which would separate MSNBC from NBC News. And so if that should happen, that's more of a chance that MSNBC would go away completely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, is that what you want?
No, listen, I can't live without if Nicole Wallace will come to a show just in my living room, I'm fine then. With that.
Every day?
Yeah.
For like 3 hours?
Because
what else is she going to be doing?
Cable television is in trouble right now. They're in big trouble.
I know what'll help. The guy that wrote the FCC section of Project 2025 is going to be the new head of the FCC. What's his name? Brendan Carr, who I understand is very handsome and well endowed.
FCC has nothing to do with cable programming.
Right.
Oh, all right. And him. Okay.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with cable.
He does have stuff to do with terrestrial radio, though.
Right. Which is why I have a bleep button. So there, I'm in the clear.
Okay, but you just said F him. Probably shouldn't say F him.
No, don't be ridiculous.
Okay. Oh, boy.
47.
It's nice knowing you guys.
Yeah.
It was a good job while I had it.
You're not going. You're going to stay here and fight. Where's Jody's snarly song? We're going to fight.
He doesn't know where it is. Sean put it in there somewhere.
I'm going to go down with swinging something.
Singing. I
Swinging
don't remember.
something.
I sang it once. What? I don't remember.
What? Here we go.
Now that's the shut up.
Why don't you just shut up?
No, that's a different snarly song. That's a shut up song. No, not this. All
That's
right,
even
never
better.
mind. Oh, God. 47 minutes after the hour. This portion. Well, you're never going to get rid of that name now.
Yep.
No, that's fine. I've completely embraced it, Stephanie. It's like, I don't know. What's the next stage, by the way, after Dr. Doom? Is there like another, do we go on to
Dr.
another
Disaster.
level?
Disaster.
Yeah.
Dr. Armageddon.
Apocalypse.
Dr.
Dr.
Apocalypse. Rapture.
Dr.
First name Apocalypse, last name
Dr.
Rapture.
End of Days. Dr. End of Days has a word of, I don't know. We were watching those potential, or those appointment nominees that Trump has in mind, and a lot of head shaking, just like this can't be true. And then you got Matt Gaetz coming through the gate, man, and you got as bad as it can get, I guess, right? If I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Oh no, I'd
He's
like
not
to
even in
retract
yet.
that. Yeah.
I mean, John Thune, who's just been elected Senate Minority Leader, of course, is Majority Leader, excuse me, is on was his statement on Ukraine. America cannot retreat from the world stage. American leadership desperately needed now more than I think any time in recent history. We need to make sure that Ukraine has the weaponry and the resources it needs to defeat Russians, because if we're not sending them American weapons and they succeed in Ukraine and they go roll into a NATO country, we're going to be sending American sons and daughters. I would much rather send weaponry, ammunition, that sort of thing. Let the Ukrainian people who've been really good about carrying the fight to the Russians win that battle. I hope we can get that political support to make that happen. What's tomorrow's statement? Never mind. Trump says no because Putin's actually in charge now. I mean, this is like I've been saying for how many years now, Doc? This story in our history is also about the complete and total capitulation and cowardice of the Republican Party.
Well, that's one of the big surprises of the last half decade. You know, where the elements of normalcy. You know, it was fine. You know, we have two parties. It's fine. They have different opinions on the economy, on trade, on even a lot of domestic issues. But those were differences that were a matter of perspective, not a question of patriotism, which is what we have now. We have American leaders, elected officials in the Senate and the House and the White House now that openly disregard American values and American principles and American positions that defended our ability to say out loud, we care about people, we care, we want freedom, we want democracy. We're not having those discussions now. We're having discussions that have to do with Donald Trump's affection for Kim Jong-un and for Orban and for Putin. It's absolutely wild.
It feels like, honestly, Doc, Russia has taken over America without firing a shot because of the willing, traitorous nature of one party and their supporters. I mean, you tweeted intensified Russian air attacks on civilian targets in Ukraine over the past few days have injured dozens, killing a toddler, injuring 11 other children. Who knows what Trump Vance will try to do? Oh, I know. But we do know, you said, as the POTUS-elect is BFFs with Putin, reason to be worried about the future of our Democratic ally and the rest of the world, frankly. I mean, just take a listen. This is Boris Johnson. Of all people. Yeah, exactly.
This is a very nervous moment because, you know, now we're going to see. I don't think, in truth, that I think there is a sort of faction in the Republican Party that has a strange kind of, you know, weird sort of homoerotic fascination for Putin, which I personally don't share. There's some of these people who, you know, think he's an all-round kind of stand-up guy and they love his manly Christianity and all this stuff.
Boy, for a bunch of homophobes, they sure are gay for Putin. He's correct.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
So you also tweeted, I'm not prepared to do a deep analysis of what went wrong for Dems. I am prepared to say the people who voted for Trump need to understand who else they've actually delivered at the highest levels of U.S. government. And I think people are finding out in record time, Doc, they didn't vote for this. And I don't know why, because he told you. You know. you mentioned Mitch McConnell having
polio
when he was a child. Devil History tweets, hey, you folks remember polio? No, you don't, because you likely don't know anyone with polio when you were growing up. That's because you and most people around you were vaccinated against polio, because vaccination against horrendous diseases is one of the greatest of all human discoveries. There's no wellness in a world that rejects this incredible science.
And every once in a while you hear about someone getting polio.
Right.
And, so it's still out there. And if fewer people get don't get a polio vaccine, it will rear its ugly head again.
By the way, there's one thing whalehead, dead bear cub, brainworm idiots hearing. It should be the people he killed in Samoa. He went there with his anti-vax nonsense. And how many people died, provably? Okay. Somebody else tweeted, my aunt is 70 years old. She's deaf. She has a tight friend group. They've all known each other since they went to the deaf elementary school together in the 60s. You want to know what else they have in common? Every one of them became deaf from the measles. Just an interesting little fact. Measles are not just cute little red dots.
It's a very dangerous disease.
Okay. And Misby tweets, 99% of conservatism is basically making something up to be mad at and then being mad at it. Why are they still so mad? Even though they won? Is it me or are they even more intolerable now? It's just, dear God. T-Pain says, fun fact, Trump's pick to oversee the Department of Justice cannot pass an FBI background check. Let that sink in for a moment. And Jeff Tiedrich says, Trump names Rusty Covered Nail as the Secretary of Tetanus. See, it's funny because it's can't get much
Cause
more
of tetanus.
ridiculous than it is. Yes. See, Steve in Chicago. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm generally in the Chris is always right camp, but I got to call him out on this one. He's been in the radio business long enough to know that if you want to keep something between you and your friend, keep it between you and your friend. If you discuss it on a national radio program, it's out there for us to discuss as well.
To be AG because Gates had sex with underage women. You have no idea who Trump is. One, Trump is a rapist. Two, Trump is testing the GOP senators to ensure they are 100% loyal to him. How do you think this ends, Jody? You have Mitch McConnell saying there will be no recess appointments, period.
Well, and he's not the
and Trump saying
anymore.
it's nope. There's sources close to Trump saying nope. Matt Gaetz is his number one, priority. Going to ram him through no matter what. It's going to be a test of, what's that guy say? How high to jump and scratch your head or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's he gets off on humiliating people.
Yes, he does.
Are you kidding? Like, he's not salivating at the final humiliation of Mitch McConnell. Like, all right, 58 minutes after the hour, Stephen Beschloss next.
Trump's pick for Attorney General is confirmed by the Senate. Of course, a big if tonight. They will have a long to-do list, including ending weaponized government, Trump's words, protecting the border, dismantling criminal organizations, rooting out corruption at the Justice Department, and fighting crime. And I have new reporting tonight on who Trump may install in the second highest position there at the DOJ. I'm told Trump is seriously considering naming his lead attorney that you may recognize from his criminal cases, who represents him there, Todd Blanche, to serve as the next deputy attorney general. Though I should note tonight, nothing has been finalized. My legal sources are here. A pair of former federal prosecutors, Ellie Honig and Elliot Williams, and also the conservative attorney who was once actually, if you can remember that far back, considered by Trump to be his solicitor general, the number 3 at the Justice Department. Now outspoken Trump critic, George Conway. That was a very long introduction. George?
Yes?
Your thoughts?
Everybody's like shocked, surprised. There's nothing surprising about this. Matt Gaetz, in a lot of ways, is the perfect attorney general for Donald Trump. Okay? I mean, we have a convicted criminal who's a president, who has been adjudicated to engage in sexual abuse. So why not select a guy who has been loyal to him and who wants to seek revenge in the same way Donald Trump does, and who was accused of sex trafficking. He's the perfect choice. So I don't know why everybody's surprised.
You know, and the interesting thing about it is that it sort of dispenses any pretense of respect for the institution, right? And there's any number of picks that the former and I guess soon-to-be president could have put in place that would have at least respected, number one, the people who work there, and number two, the very enterprise of prosecuting people.
He doesn't care about that.
Well, that's my point, George.
That's been a lot of our points.
But yeah, no, I mean, we're all in agreement here. Let's be clear. But I just, it's just fascinating because I feel like I worked for 4 different attorneys general, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, vastly different people, John Ashcroft to Loretta Lynch, nothing in common whatsoever. They all respected the work of the institution, even in their policy differences. And what you have here is somebody who literally has contempt, not just for the body of the Justice Department, but the people who work there.
Ellie, can I just also say before you make your point, I read that if he is confirmed, he would be the first attorney general in 4 decades that has never been a government attorney or a judge before this. So it's not even just, everything that we talked about. It's also the experience question that the other nominees have faced as well.
It's such an important point about the utter lack of qualifications. I mean, Matt Gaetz is aggressively unqualified for this position. He's never been a prosecutor. He's never really practiced law at any big-time level. He has no idea what it means to stand up in a court and to represent the United States and to try to take away someone's liberty. And I do want to underscore the stakes here. When you're talking about the Attorney General of the United States, this person is in charge of 110,000 employees, 94 U.S. attorneys' offices, the entire FBI, the entire DEA, the entire ATF, the Solicitor General, who handles all the Supreme Court litigation for the government, the U.S. Marshals, the Federal Bureau of Prisons.
This is a man who he certainly couldn't be hired as an assistant United States attorney in any major district. He probably couldn't be hired as a paralegal. He probably wouldn't even pass a background check.
I think a better way to think about it, I have to disagree with you, Ellie, that he doesn't have experience. He certainly does have experience with the Justice Department. It's just simply being investigated for sex crimes. Now, this is not a serious pick. And again, I want to get back to the bipartisan question.
And just to note, he did deny that. He was never charged.
He was never charged. A close associate of his but no, he was never charged with the crime.
No, but he did show pictures of naked women on the House floor to one of his colleagues. I think there was some clip about that earlier, and he talked about how he put Viagra in his energy drink and bragged about that on the House floor.
Can we talk about what would happen? Because this is a question. Tammy Duckworth was talking about what would happen at the Pentagon if Pete Hegseth is confirmed there. She thinks. I mean, the idea that there would be maybe mass resignations at the DOJ if this happens, I mean, the Trump team might look at that and say, okay, great. Like in the first term, Trump would have feared that and the backlash. But I think this time they'd be like, okay, we're fine with that.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit overblown. I mean, look, people come and go. Republican presidents come and go. Democratic presidents come and go. People stay. And of these 110,000 people that Ellie talked about, most of them have been there throughout administrations. Now, look, there are people in some positions who might be turned off by a particular administration and want to leave. But I think this notion of people leaving the Justice Department en masse, I think, is a little bit overblown.
And to your reporting, Caitlin, about Todd Blanche being considered for deputy AG, right?
Who is a former federal prosecutor, came from Southern District of New York. So you obviously know him.
He's a real lawyer.
What do you make of that consideration? It's not final yet, but I'm told Trump is very seriously considering doing so.
That is as good a pick as you're going to get for Deputy AG. And Deputy AG is the workhorse. Deputy AG really runs the show. The AG is sort of the show pony. Todd is a real lawyer. Everyone knows him from the hush money trial on the defense side, where I think he did a capable job. I had some criticisms of what he did, but I think he did a good job. But he grew up in the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Southern District of New York. He understands the principles. And I think look, I'm not the political guy, but I don't think Gaetz is going to get through. But if we get a subpar AG, ultimately, you're going to need a really good deputy to babysit that person.
I mean, you're probably right. He's not going to get through. Yeah. Gaetz is not going to get through. But you can never go bankrupt betting on the spinelessness of Republican senators like the one we just saw a few minutes ago.
And what the other thing is what we mentioned Trump's to-do list. January 6 pardons were not on there. Trump has made clear he wants to pardon January 6 rioters. The question, I think, is this a blanket pardon for all of them? Do they differentiate between the ones who were convicted of literally assaulting police officers and then just the ones who were on Capitol grounds that day that were also arrested. Do they change that? I mean, that is going to be a big question in the hands of this Justice Department, in addition to what Ellie just laid out there.
Yeah, and not just do they pardon them, do they not pardon them, but extend clemency, leave their convictions in place, but simply get them out of prison? Look, the pardon power under the Constitution is vast, it's virtually limitless, and it's the president's prerogative. Presidents across administrations have chosen to implement it however they've wanted. And who knows? But any of these options are certainly realistic and possible, Caitlin, for the president to follow.
Also, if you're Attorney General, what kind of access to information? I mean, you have access to everything, right, Ellie?
Everything. Every one of those agencies I just named, FBI, Bureau of Prisons, it's a staggering responsibility. I don't know that Matt Gaetz even has the first understanding of what it means to be the Attorney General of the United States. I mean, look, there is only one agency, only one body of the federal government that can deprive a person of their liberty, and that's the Justice Department. And that's why, to me, it's an offensive pick. It's somebody who's so outrageously unqualified. And on top of that, not just partisan. It's okay I mean, there have been partisans as AG before, but someone whose entire identity is built on I'm an attack dog. And one of the big questions heading into this new administration is just how far is Donald Trump going to go? And look, I've been sort of, I think I've been measured about, I don't buy into some of the worst case scenarios, but if Matt Gaetz becomes Attorney General, that is a hard step in that direction.
What I find fascinating is that it's almost the polar opposite of the Merrick Garland pick by Joe Biden, which was, Merrick Garland, if anything, the knock against him was too methodical, too slow, and gumming up the works of the Justice Department to some extent. This is putting in an individual who's there, in effect, to burn the whole place down.
I mean, George, I was here 8 years ago when you were in the running to be the Solicitor General. It feels like a...
By the way, speaking of the ethics report, Jared says, why does the speaker believe it's appropriate and necessary to hide the truth from the American people? Obviously, if that report exonerated him, they would have already released it.
Of course.
All right, let's talk to our friend Stephen Beschloss, author of America, America.
Yeah.
You're not stuttering. He says it twice on purpose. Hi. Hi.
Times I might have to add a couple more Americas just to underscore the necessity of its survival.
Writer, political journalist extraordinaire. I mean, Stephen, so to your point, I love how this last piece you wrote, not today's, I already read that too, but you said, remember, Donald Trump wants us to be demoralized. He wants to fuel conflict and outrage. He wants to push the boundaries as far as he can, not only to see what he can get away with, but to throw Congress and the country off balance or even into chaos to strengthen his own position. In his warped vision, he relies on the ruins of others. And that's where I think it starts with saying, this is not a mandate. This is, 49, 50%. That's where it starts for them to make you feel demoralized, right? And defeated, and like you're the one that's out of touch and you're just overwhelmed, and they're the vast majority of people, disagree with you, right?
Right. And look, a win, in this case, a win is a win. We have to live with that. But let's not pretend that it's a mandate. Let's not pretend that it's a landslide. Let's not pretend that this is a normal administration that we should respond to normally. I think it's already worrisome that this early, 63 days before January 20th inauguration, that there's so many people who are already quickly rolling over, who already seem to be more concerned about trying to get along, trying to get access, trying to treat this guy like it's just a normal day in a democratic America.
I am wearing this wardrobe today in honor of Joe and Mika, who went to kiss the ring at Mar-a-Lago. Friday, to your point.
So you're promising that after January 20th, your T-shirt will not say he's not that bad.
I mean, but to your point, Joyce Vance tweeted, Trump isn't even in office yet, and we're already talking about letting him bypass the Constitution as though that's a normal conversation to be having.
Right. And look, 63 days away. I mean, there's something that he did which is weirdly our benefit, which is that all of these reckless, dangerous selections for cabinet and other so-called leadership positions, they're so egregious that they serve the purpose of exposing what his intentions are. And now we'll get to see very clearly what the Senate is made of. Do they actually treat their duty to advise and consent, to follow the Constitution with seriousness, or don't they? And if they don't, you know what? We need to know sooner rather than later.
I mean, you went down all of them. Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense. I mean, not only do we find out he paid the woman off for this latest sexual assault allegation, but you said, did you know he championed service members who were accused of war crimes? Did you know he was asked to stand down from guarding President Biden at his inauguration because of his extremist religious tattoos? Tulsi Gabbard, you talk about, how many of our allies have already determined they can't trust their secrets with Trump and are reorganizing their intelligence operations to avoid relying on America. Who does that hurt? America. It hurts America. You said not only is she ill-prepared and unqualified, but she traffics in conspiracy theories, cozies up to dictators like Assad and Putin. I mean, it is almost a script that would be rejected out here in Hollywood, Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. I mean, it's a lot of us really actually, even for Trump, thought this was a joke when we heard these nominations. Did you?
No, Matt Gaetz, I thought that one was a joke. I thought maybe even the new version of The Onion was trying to spoof us, right? But they are very. I mean, he's very serious. He's not hiding, and this intention to pursue retribution. Let's be clear. That's on the table.
Yeah.
It's not, and treat it accordingly. So,
well, I thought you made such a smart point. I hadn't heard other people say. You said maybe Donald has finally found his Roy Cohn, minus the intelligence and the legal knowledge, but with the same level of ambition, immorality, and capacity for cruelty. And you said we can only hope the ethics report will be leaked or otherwise handed over to senators. I mean, obviously, some senators are demanding it or saying they're not going to vote for him. But we'll see how quickly the capitulation to Trump happens, because it usually happens on cue, right?
Right. And look, the thing about that ethics report, it provides evidence, but it's almost as if we don't really need more evidence to know how ill-suited, how unfit, how utterly inappropriate it is for a guy like that to end up in the job of the chief law enforcement for the entire country.
The girl's lawyer said she was in high school and there were witnesses. I mean, it's not like this stuff hasn't, already.
Right.
Anyway, okay. Bobby Kennedy, let's talk about this.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I want to go back to sort of national security. I mean, one of the things that I made a point of doing in recent days was double checking to what extent Trump can dismantle NATO.
Yeah.
And our relationship with all of our Western allies. Well, obviously, he can undermine our aid and support for Ukraine. But one of the things is that there's a law that's been passed that 2/3 of the Congress have to pass any effort to try to dismantle NATO.
Okay.
So he won't have sort of the free rein to just do that if that's part of the plan.
And I wanted to get your take, since you brought up Ukraine. I'm glad that Biden is, sending the the weapons to Ukraine, because I think the other thing is, because of Republicans, he's been able to give Ukraine enough help to fight, but not enough to win. So, right. I mean, again, I don't know if it's going to matter if Trump just hands Ukraine to Putin, but,
Well, that seems pretty clear. I mean, that's obvious that he's going to do that, that he's going to demand that Zelensky goes to the negotiating table and begins, right away, giving away their sovereignty. I mean, that's the plan. And there's already been plenty of noise from the Republicans, like, of course they should go along with that. By the way, including Elon Musk saying it's laughable that Zelensky would consider not going to the table, that he needs to listen to what he's being told.
And it's so sad to have to listen to Zelensky suck up to Trump, too, for obvious reasons, but, oh, yes, his plan of peace through strength is exactly correct. It's like, yes, you get peace through giving, everything up to Putin's strength. And
And look, we're going to have to watch. I think everybody and their engagements with him, when it is that they're sort of doing what a Zelensky does, which is, he's trying to get along for the survival of his country versus, those who are sucking up because they want access or because, they're ready to normalize him because they want to be in the orbit.
Yeah. Bobby Kennedy, you write, despite having no scientific or medical background, this man is driven by conspiracy theories, including vaccines cause autism without reliable evidence. He's already said he would push to remove fluoride from the water supply, despite the fact that it's improved dental health. He's questioned vaccines for polio and measles. I mean, it really is quite extraordinary where we find ourselves. I mean, it is... I don't even... Oh, go ahead.
We're living in an upside down world. That's pretty clear. I think I posted something yesterday, which is like, can we remember how absurd this world is? That this man, he is an adjudicator. I mean, I don't have to go through the whole list, but he's somebody who is a depraved sociopath and should never have been brought back anywhere close to the levers of power.
We've just been talking about this all show about relationships with friends or family that voted. To me, it's different. 2016, even 2020. I'm sorry. If you voted for him now, to me, you are despicable. And I cannot have a relationship with anybody that voted for this now. Again, my mom passed a year ago, and she had Alzheimer's, and she was 100. So it was a different.
She's forgiven, I mean, and anybody, let's say anybody over 95 is forgiven, shall we say that?
Yeah, there you go. They get a pass. But you just said, I worry for my country if any or all of these selections come to pass. You said, with terrible sycophants ready to swing the wrecking ball to American government, Americans will see clearly the awful consequences of this election. You just said this real life story is an opportunity for each of us to step up in whatever way we can to minimize the danger, beat back the horror, eventually emerge alive and triumphant. The need for media to highlight acts of opposition, not just at federal level, but throughout the country. You said people need hope. The media needs to serve this need. I agree. That's the point of fascism. Autocracy is for us to feel hopeless. And like there's no point in fighting anymore. And, I don't want to talk about politics anymore. And, I'm done. Right? That's exactly what they want.
Sure, and I'm sure you've dealt with what I have, which I've had an awful lot of people reach out to me and say, I'm done. I'm retiring from politics. I can't deal with this. I've dealt with it for 8 years. I'm out. I completely understand that. And that's where, I think there's a reckoning that should have happened. I wish it would still happen for the media and its failures in this period, but I also think that the opportunity is not simply to critique, but it's to spotlight those who are doing good work to respond. And I think, that is where people should be able to find hope. And, it's at a local level, it's community levels, it's at a state level. It's recognizing people like J.B. Pritzker, who talks about, if you're coming from my people, you come through me. I mean, work that's already going on in a lot of places to try to resist what seems to be inevitable. All those things are really important.
This is, Stephen, this is a cruel reality host that we put back in the present. These mass deportations are going to be big and cruel and dumb and televised to throw red meat to their Fox audience. Here, the thing about you being a political journalist, though, your point is well taken. The pendulum always swings. It's going to swing back. He did not win a majority. He won a little over 30% of the country is who voted for him. And, I think, unfortunately, people are going to find out in record time. I mean,
the majority did not vote for him. Can we say that, over and over?
Yeah.
I mean, the misfortune is that most people did not vote once again. So it's that tyrannizing minority that did the dirty work here.
I wanted to get your take, one last thread from Kevin. Many of the people who will claim in the coming months and years they didn't know he would do such terrible things did know. They knew and they wanted it. They got a thrill from the idea of hurting and dominating people, which is why they supported him. They won't want to take back the responsibility for it, though, when things get really dark. They won't want to be cut off or unwelcome in polite company, so they'll say, this isn't my fault. I didn't know. So, echoes of somewhere in the 1930s, I wonder.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. We have a public that doesn't study history. We have a public and generations that haven't studied civics. They don't know the basics of democracy. They have lost touch with the value of democracy and self-governance. It's part of why we're here. And the data in terms of this election has already communicated that those who actually possessed knowledge, who engaged with political news, with facts, they were more likely, and by 8 percentage points, to vote for Kamala Harris. Those who had little or none, it was as much as 19%. They went for Trump. So it's clear that the more people are engaged with factual reality and have an opportunity to know a little bit about sort of civics and about their history, there might have been more second guessing about it. And this to me defines sort of what our work is in these coming years, to break through the information bubble, the ecosystems that have severed people off from
disinformation. This is what Alan Lichtman, who's been right about every single election. The reason he was wrong this time, he said disinformation and people's tendency to believe these ridiculous lies. So thank you for your work. I keep saying, like, I've been mostly watching movies about women, snowmen. Do whatever you need to do to disconnect.
Absolutely.
I go bike riding for hours. Go do what you love with who you love. But stay in this fight with us, however you can.
Be in it for the long haul. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the outrages are going to come constantly. We can't be outraged at every single moment. That's a recipe for burnout. The point is to find ways to maintain your mental health and to stay involved. That's really the challenge.
In my case, appreciating how horribly bad the acting is in holiday rom-coms. Horrible. Makes me feel better about my life.
But you stick with them anyway, right?
Yes.
Yes, she does.
All right. Love you, Stephen. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon. Stephen Bechelos. There he goes.
Bye-bye.
21 minutes. thought it seemed like Putin's blackmailing Trump. Now a warning. I mean, Malcolm, I don't know what to say.
How many years of warnings do I have to give you?
No kidding.
I mean, I started this in 2016, and we had Trump going Russia, and everything. Now we find out it's all true. And you know what's even worse? We're probably going to find out a lot more is true because people are going to start, as we said, throwing secrets out the window that will implicate a lot of people. Same thing with not just Matt Gaetz. Jesus Christ, I expect all of his indictment documents to suddenly hit the floor and details start coming out.
Yeah.
But, will they confirm them? Yeah. You know why? Because they're all a bunch of Trump rubber stamp sycophants.
Yeah.
The nuts are running the building.
I mean, I guess it's all going to be Russia stack from here on in, Malcolm. But Russia made an audacious public attempt to blackmail Trump, according to a military expert. Putin and his ministers are already trying to mess with Trump's head. Kremlin intelligence chiefs claimed in an interview Trump had relied, just this thing I said to you about. They're basically saying it. We helped him get installed again. They said this is mind-blowing psychological warfare. The Russians are basically telling Trump, we put you in office. Now it's time for you to pay us back.
Stephanie Miller.
White supremacist administration. Did you see the Trump administration takes? It's like a KKK Brady Bunch of, except everybody's white. Everybody's white. Ronald said, apparently blacks for Trump only get to wear the T-shirts at the rallies. Nobody's
right.
Remarkably melanin-free administration so far. Okay. Robert Reich says JFK, or what do you call it? RFK Jr. says he wants to make America healthy again, so he's doing that by buddying up with the man who cut environmental protections, gutted food safety laws, and rolled back regulations on dangerous chemicals. Do I have this right? Yes, you do. And he's eating McDonald's because he wants America to be healthy again. Right. Just because. Oh, there's a picture of Kamala laughing. Nina said, why is she still smiling and laughing? You thought you could bring her down, didn't you? A woman with purpose, passion, and a heart full of love who can't be defeated. Every setback only fuels her to rise from the ashes over and over again, each time stronger than before.
She's going to be our next governor.
I think you're right.
She's going to be our next governor.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
She is.
Yeah, Dean Obadala says, wow, Trump's Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth argued in his 2020 book that Christians should unite in a crusade against Muslims entering the United States to protect Judeo-Christian values. He literally wants to kill Muslims in America. Mm-hmm. Okay. How's that feeling? For all those Trump voters in, where is it, Michigan? Okay, Carrie says, just when I was convincing myself 4 years isn't that long, I remember it's only been a week and a half since last Tuesday. That's funny because it's true. 29 minutes after the hour.
Hi, I'm Matt Gaetz, former congressman and distinguished statesman. Can you believe the deep state totally canceled me just because I'm a patriot who likes to party? Does that suck ass or what? This is my new podcast, and you haters can laugh all you want because I allegedly brought a somewhat underage chick across state lines. But guess what that means? I get to do my time in a federal pen, not a state pen, because those are like totally ghetto. So I'm doing this podcast because the accusations against me are the greatest miscarriage of justice since a bunch of Black Lives Matter thugs attacked our Capitol on January 6th, disguised as white Trump supporters. So a lot of haters want to talk about how my dad bought me my seat in Congress, or how I got busted with a DUI driving my dad's BMW, or how I wore a gas mask in the House, or how I falsely claimed that Obamacare caused the opioid crisis, or how I voted against the Equality Act, or how I was the only person in Congress to vote against the Sex Trafficking Act, blah, blah. As Mr. Trump said many times, you only hate me because I'm so Christian, you punk ass. But they also say I'm a racist because I brought a Holocaust denier to the State of the Union address. Okay, let's address that. Number one, I did not bring a Holocaust denier. I brought a Holocaust skeptic. And that's like a totally different thing. Stop calling me a bigot. It's totally gay. Okay, let's do some fan mail. Dear Matt, you're awesome, bro. MAGA, how is prison? Signed, Jill. Dear Jill, thanks for writing. You did not enclose a photograph in your letter, which indicates to me that you are, at best, a 6. But I'll answer your letter anyway. Prison's sucky, okay? When I came here, they wouldn't let me bring my own pomade into the jail. So I have to buy some homemade prison pomade from the Aryan gang, and those guys won't even tell me what's in it. I mean, it works. It's sticky. The worst part is that for some reason President Trump hasn't responded to any of my phone calls or letters or emails. So I've started this new GoFundMe. It's Tell Donald Trump that Matt Gaetz is in jail and it totally sucks and he needs help at GoFundMe.com. Please tell Mr. Trump that I really need his help. I know he has my number. And so does Don Jr. And so does Eric. And so does Laura. And that douche Jared. Mr. Trump, please get me out of here. I know you can help me. Don't you remember all those good times we had? All those awesome photos I showed you on my phone on Air Force One? I'm Gates with a Z. You remember? I'm the guy you kept thinking was your son, Barron? Please. Anyway, I gotta go. Subscribe and give us a good review. And I want to thank Jim Jordan for always standing by me. Thank you, Jim. I knew you would never look the other way. And I also want to thank God and shit. Peace out, bitches.
Matt Gaetz is very different from what we're talking about with people like Marco Rubio, and we just have to keep that in mind. But do understand with Matt Gaetz, and you've already made this point, he's not the only one out there who is unqualified and who raises whole questions like Tulsi Gabbard does. You really want her to have all of the secrets of the United States and our defense intelligence agencies when she has so clearly been in Putin's pocket? That just has to be a hard no.
Senator Professor Elizabeth Warren. Thank God for her. Cheryl and Eiffel, thank you for journalism, something appears to be in short supply. She said, can reporters drill down and ask Bernie for specifics just once?
Yeah.
Because this is really getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyone else, had enough of all the post-election analysis blaming circular fire squad, firing squad, this, that, blah. Mentioning this all morning. For those of you who think it's just about the price of eggs, A wave of offensive text messages and emails have gone out to Hispanic and gay people in recent days, according to the FBI, coming on the heels of a barrage of racist texts that were sent to black people in the wake of the election. Some recipients of the latest messages were told they'd been selected for deportation. Others were instructed to report to a re-education camp for LGBTQ people. Oh, that's My Electric Lesbian Zoo. It's not going to be a joke anymore. Here's the not so funny part is the, what do you call it? Conversion therapy will be back and more gay kids will kill themselves. Misogynistic social media posts also have surged in the aftermath of the election with phrases like "your body, my choice" and "get back to the kitchen" proliferating online. The Human Rights Campaign called the messages scare tactics and said hate will not silence us. Please let's not let hate continue to win.
Right.
I feel like he ran and wanted everything that's the opposite of what's on the Statue of Liberty. Did you see her swimming back to France?
Yes.
The statue. It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Christina in Connecticut. Hello. Hello,
Hi,
Christina.
Steph. How are you?
Good. Go ahead.
So, People mentioned a Michael Tomasky article last week, and it's really good. And I
He's
was going to
fantastic.
ask you if there's any way you could possibly have him on your show, because
Get me
if this is the answer for me,
We have a jingle for him.
We do.
Yes.
the question I had that everyone has is, how could people vote for a convicted felon and adjudicated rapist?
Yeah.
And the answer is simple. They listen to Fox. They're in that echo chamber, and we don't have that. And we all know it was a sad day when Current TV was sold to Al Jazeera. But we need to build up
Oil
that
interests.
infrastructure, and we need to get Michael Tomasky's voice on more
We'll
outlets. so
have
that
him.
we can
I agree.
Get the story
We need
out
to get
there.
back in our rotation.
Yeah, let's get him back. He's
Yeah.
terrific. I think Christina sent me this stuff. Lots of talk today about the focus of Tomasky's recent article about the strength of right-wing media, the need for rich progressives to step up and create bigger, stronger media presence. From the article, he said, I'm going to keep writing about it until people, specifically rich liberals, who are the only people in the world who have the power to do something about this state of affairs, take some action. Thank you. Not just for me. I keep saying this. It's for this whole universe of great progressive voices that are out there, and the next generation of them. I mean, if they don't wake up now about it, I don't know when they will. Who said there are many theories as to why Trump is naming a battalion of bozos to do these very important jobs. Some believe he's testing the Republican Congress to see how far he can push them. Some say he's doing this strategically to weaken certain sections of the government. Or, and this is the theory I believe, he's dumb.
Squiddly Diddly.
No, Jimmy Kimmel, who's also one of the great, hilarious progressive voices out there.
Yes.
We were saying, I've been saying all morning, we'll see how this goes. Mitch McConnell said that he said there will be no recess appointments. He said it would be as sorry. What did he say? Oh, I'm sorry. He said it would be as sad as well as disgraceful if the Senate caved on this and the stakes go beyond the political and even the constitutional. It is an inordinate and unnecessary national security risk. This other party, Trump sees criticism over his most controversial cabinet picks as a threat to the almost uncheckable power he intends to wield, and he is not going to back down, according to a Trump insider. The source warned he was ready to go to epic battle to force through his picks. He says he sees Matt Gaetz as his most important pick. He is not going to back down. He is all in. So we'll see how all this plays out. But as you said, Jody, Mitch McConnell's not in charge anymore.
He's not. As of January 3rd, he will no longer be in charge.
Right now, technically, he's still in charge.
Technically, he's in charge until January 3rd.
Yes.
Could I have some bag of rats, please?
All right.
Oh, the bag of rats has already started. Tensions reportedly running high between Trump's transition team after Elon Musk clashed publicly with Boris Epstein. Fight. Don't know how to pick a winner. You're both equally awful. They called it a massive blowout over key cabinet appointments. The dispute reached a boiling point during dinner at Trump's Mar-a-Lago club last week when Musk accused Epstein of leaking sensitive details about the transition process. Fight. All equally awful.
They come from opposite sides. Like Boris Epstein comes from the evangelical side, and
Yes.
Elon Musk does not.
Right.
So,
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Amy with a love letter. Dear Steph, I first met you in person at one of the Blue State Balls hosted by AM 950 KTNF. I was in awe, so I might have stared too long, and I always fear I made you uncomfortable. Never doubt my ability to feel guilty even after 15 years. Not a second has gone by that I haven't thought about it too, Amy. Awkward, so awkward, uncomfortable. I'm just kidding, Amy. I don't remember anything like that. Number 2, Cheeto Benito and everything he stands for. Agreed. As a practicing musician and the official musicologist of the Stephanie Miller Show, I'll resist in every way I can. I think of musicians that have gone before us and created some of the most beautiful music the world has ever known while the world burned around them. Yeah, like think of yourselves as the band on the Trump-tanic. As America goes down, the band plays on. That was dark. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's go to.
Dear.
Oh, Seth in LA wants to defend Chris. Oh, hi, Seth.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I was also one of the only ones who thought the jacket was yellow. But what I want to say is Chris is right, and I'm going to say Chris is right for Chris. And the reason he was right to tell everyone about it is because this
Well, I
is
told
a
everyone
really
about it because I was
difficult thing.
asked.
Right.
I didn't volunteer
Well,
the information.
yeah,
I was asked.
But more than that, Chris, this is an important thing that we all have to talk about to each other with, because we are all being faced with this one way or another, and it's a very personal and individual decision based on the person, the circumstances, who we are, and, I understand the world that Chris is steeped in. Before my husband and I were parents, we were CrossFitters. We were at the Venice Gold's Gym. It's a world that comes with its own set of beliefs. And Chris was there long before Donald Trump came down the escalator. I'm a professional writer. I work in feature films, but most of my TV writers, friends my age, okay, they're seeped in it too. And I've had to make these decisions, and I haven't made the same decision with each friend.
Right.
It's been very specific to who they are, the conversations we can now have, and we shouldn't judge each other for making different decisions. And I think he's right for modeling that he made that particular decision. Chris was right for Chris. And we all...
And that is a niche that only Chris fills. But
that's a niche,
I
that's for
appreciate your Chris support because I love him too. Let's go to Donald in Florida. Oh, Donald Trump's calling. Hi. Oh, I don't have to go to him. He's coming to us.
Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Hi. Do you like my
Am I on?
T-shirt?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Go ahead, Donald.
Hello?
You're on.
Yes.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm a little what the kids today call neurodivergent, so I made a couple notes real quick.
Okay.
First, I don't know if you played this song yet called Better Eggs. Hope you like them Better Eggs by Tennessee Brando.
No.
Not yet.
I'm too busy
I think you'll
screaming
appreciate
"ew"
it.
at eggs in the supermarket, which I think I'm going to do right after this show.
Okay.
All right. Let's. Where are we? Oh,
I don't think any good could have come from the rest of that call.
No. See, I get out of relationships much sooner now, just before I make my next disastrous mistake. Okay, Jonathan Capehart.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
The former Democratic governor of Kansas. Secretary Sebelius, great to see you again. It's been a long time. Your thoughts on RFK Jr.'s nomination, and how dangerous would he be as Secretary of Health and Human Services?
Well, I just listened to Congressman Ivey, and I think that we're talking about magnitudes of danger beyond erroneously making legal decisions.
Yes, one more. Kathleen.
This is life or death.
Thank you.
HHS affects people from birth to their grave and is intimately connected with every state in the country. So this could be very dangerous. I think it's totally disqualifying for anyone who seeks to lead the major health agency in this country and one of the leaders in the world to just unequivocally say there is no safe and effective vaccine.
Yeah. And then he will literally say, I never said that, and then they play the clip for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
That in and of itself from the bully pulpit of HHS could end up killing people, could end up harming children. My grandson is too young to get a lot of vaccinations yet, and having him exposed to unvaccinated people with polio and measles is a terrifying thought, having eradicated those diseases as a major health initiative. Jonathan, I think this is absolutely terrifying, and people should understand how serious it is.
Yeah.
This tells you everything you need to know about Bobby Kennedy's principles. I mentioned this earlier, but Trump has named Chris Wright, who is described as a TV-ready evangelist for fossil fuels who lacks any government experience, as the head of the Department of Energy. Bobby Kennedy's entire life has been, as an environmentalist.
Yeah.
But I went to a bunch of events for him when he was
Right.
environmental lawyer. Okay, just thought all right. Let's see. Did I mention that I threaded and blue skied and tweeted?
Yeah, you're on all of
That
them.
there's so
You're
many
everywhere.
sexual assaulters from the Trump administration from the top on down that they've created their own Me Too movement. You're a rapist? Me too. Welcome.
You mentioned that in the first hour.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Different audience, everybody.
Different AQH.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Water cooler. Pete Hedges, Trump's pick for defense secretary, paid off a sexual assault accuser. Trump's team was reportedly thrown for a loop when it was revealed he was accused of sexual assault because they don't do any vetting either.
Nope.
He maintained their encounter was consensual because, of course, he did. He said Hedgeseth was visibly intoxicated at the time of the incident, but obviously knows that she's a lying whore in retrospect anyway. He agreed to pay an undisclosed amount to the woman because he feared the revelation of the matter would result in his termination from Fox News. The statement came after a detailed memo was sent to a Trump transition team by a this week by a woman who said she was a friend of the accuser. The memo, a copy was obtained by the Post, alleged he raped the then 30-year-old conservative group staffer in his room after drinking at the hotel bar. What did he say? Oh, she was the aggressor? Yeah, because in Trump world, it's always, the woman that's, Okay. A woman told the Health Essex Committee she personally saw Matt Gaetz having sex with a minor at a party in Florida in 2017. Her attorney said the testimony was offered during the lengthy investigation into Gaetz. Do you think that might be why they don't want this report to come out? Because that's in there, among other things? Okay. Oh, you know what? This is when you think maybe things are... The last thing's a joke? The Tiger King.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A plan for a central role at Trump's side. Would you be surprised? Would you be surprised? I wouldn't be surprised.
Not at all.
Trump didn't come through with a pardon for the Tiger King. But as he prepares to return to the Oval Office, the star of the hit Netflix show is hopeful he will be, out of jail, first of all.
Right.
Is that even a requirement to be in the Trump administration?
I don't think so.
Do you have to technically be out of jail?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
Did he just get married in jail?
I think he did.
Yeah.
Sean Hannity, and a lot of people told me I was on the pardon list, because of course you were, that they'd seen the pardon list. Oh, you know who else was on there? Matt Gaetz, which is weird. Because that's why you would ask for a pardon when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. And January 6th happened, and then everything got screwed up, and then I got left behind. Oh, Tiger King got raptured. Maldonado, that's his name, said he wishes Trump will give him a cabinet position to as director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Do we have don't shove a fish up your ass? I feel like Maldonado, just in case you had forgotten, because I had forgotten. Jody.
This is a name I haven't heard in 4 years. Yeah. Tiger King.
He is serving a 21-year sentence for 2 counts of murder for hire related to his alleged plans to kill his big cat rescue foe, Carol Baskin. You remember?
I remember her, yeah.
Along with 19 other counts of wildlife crime related to the alleged killing of 5 tigers and the illegal sale of tiger cubs. So that guy would be in charge of the fish and wildlife.
Yeah.
Don't shove a fish up your ass. Don't shove a fish up your ass. Shove a fish up your. Don't shove a fish up your ass.
All right. I bet you he has shoved a fish up his ass. Okay.
Are you saying because he's gay?
I don't know. Oh, is he?
He is gay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You didn't watch Tiger King?
Oh, God,
no.
Don't be ridiculous.
He had a concubine of young boys.
All I know is that Carol Baskin's a bitch, apparently. I don't know. That's
That's
what I'm told.
They're both awful.
Yeah, they're not people I want to hang around at all, but he had a concubine of young boys.
Yeah, I never
if she
watched
wasn't
it
dead,
either.
wouldn't she be named for something, too?
Yeah.
Do you think Jeffrey Epstein would be in the cabinet if he wasn't?
Oh,
also?
gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty then.
Carol Baskin is a bitch. She is.
It's one thing we can all agree on.
Yes.
She's like Kyle's mom.
Uh-huh.
She's a big fat bitch. Carol Baskin's a big fat bitch. She's a big fat bitch. 50. Oh my God. 50 minutes after the hour at this point. It's tough times as a comedian, isn't it? You just gotta laugh or you'll cry all day long.
We do. I'm much better this week. Much better than I was last week, that's for sure. My goodness.
I mean, I literally, I know, and we have to train ourselves that nothing's a joke. I was saying I was on a text chain with all my best friends. My friend Glenn's like, Attorney General. We were all like, ha ha ha, come on.
I know.
Which is what a lot of the reaction of Congress people was on both sides of the aisle because they all hate him. But I'm like,
I had work therapy since I saw you last. So for those of you that know what I do for a living, it was a bit challenging. Obviously, I have the comedy, but excuse me, last Thursday we raised over $150,000 for healthcare for the LGBTQ community in New York.
Yay.
And then I went to Chicago and raised another $100,000 for the Human Rights Campaign. I have a gala on Monday in New York for the Stonewall Inn initiative that creates safe spaces for the LGBTQ community. And if you left the bad bird and you want to see me where the skies are blue, I am there as well at DG Comedy. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I just told Malcolm Nance I'm not ceding any space. He says, do not leave Twitter. I am not leaving. Because we're told that's how we got here, is we're in our liberal bubble and we don't want to be exposed to MAGAs and whatever. First of all, it annoys them that I stay. There's a guy that calls me a bulimic ditch licker, and I'm not going to leave him.
How could you? I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
This has turned into the biggest propaganda machine in the world right now. Why would we all leave and turn it into just a propaganda machine with no one pushing back?
Yeah.
So I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't want to be where only people agree with me. I mean, this is, and I'm not ceding the space to them.
Yeah.
So let's get into. Oh my God, look at this. There's a tweet to annoy everyone. Tierra says, progressives claim Harris lost because she wasn't liberal enough. Here's the devastating reality. She ran on Biden's record, the most progressive agenda in decades, and voters rejected it. Then you have the Rolling Stone headline. Exit polls suggest Harris' investment in courting Republicans was a major misfire. While Democrats were busy making the case that Republicans should leave Trump, voters fled the Democratic Party instead or stayed home. One more. Under Dems, workers thrived. Obama cut unemployment 7.8 to 4.7. Biden cut unemployment from 6.4 to 4.1. There's a lot to analyze about 2024, but abandoning workers isn't it. And then finally, Mark Elias, who says, if you're a Democrat who's spending time attacking Kamala Harris or her campaign rather than focusing on the fight ahead, you aren't helping anyone. Oh my God, are we done with the circular firing squad yet, right?
Please. And listen, I'm a Pelosi fan. I did not appreciate her stabbing Joe Biden in the front right after the election.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm throwing him under the bus.
Me
There's
neither.
a lot of things that upset me. And I, like I said, I think she's done a hell of a job in Congress, but that was completely unnecessary. It's not helpful. We need to figure out how we
Agreed.
can collect ourselves and get ready for the midterms, if there's ever a midterm.
Right. Right.
And that's my sense of humor, people.
And
that's how I get through this going, assuming we have another election, how are we going to be ready for
And
it?
also, Dana, I keep saying this and not by way of trying to spin or be happy clappy, but the fact is, this election, he's going to win by 1.5 points, maybe. I mean,
This wasn't a landslide.
politics.
It just happened.
Channel
The right
said
numbers.
California voters could take away Trump's election like popular vote win and give it to Harris. Harris can still win the national popular vote, or it's going to be a lot closer. So it is not a landslide. It is not a mandate. We are not, don't feel overwhelmed and like, oh, we're so out of touch and out of step. There's 75 million of us, Dana.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people in Congress, the Senate and the House, that are still good people that are going to push back against this authoritarian regime that he's trying to build with his cabinet appointments. And let's just remember that at this point, there's going to be so much infighting, egos and money in the government. I don't think they're going to get any of their policy actually done and anything through. And they have no one to blame but themselves now. They can't blame the Democrats if we don't have the House for stonewalling. You know what I mean? Like, this is on you. Like, they need to figure this out. But we as a party, and I'm talking everyone left to center, we need to pay attention to everything that's falling in the cracks, everything that they're not able to accomplish, figure out a plan for it, and offer a better solution for the midterms, period. We have to.
Yeah. Yep. I thought Adam summed it up. He said people who care about their country voted for Kamala Harris. People who care only about themselves voted for Donald Trump. I mean, that's he has made a segment of our population as selfish and despicable as he is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And these appointments, I don't know how Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz are going to make eggs any cheaper because they're not. So this is a disaster when it comes to that stuff. There's a Russian spy in charge of intelligence now. I'm sorry, possible Russian spy.
Yeah. All right, I mentioned I'm started posting on Blue Sky in addition to Twitter and Threads and Instagram and Facebook. Fortunately, I have absolutely no life of any kind. I have no work-life balance.
Copy and paste is your friend in
It
that,
is.
in
It's
that
a
case.
really good
Yeah.
idea.
What is?
Copy and paste.
Oh, I don't know how to. Can you
It'll
show me how to do that?
Oh my God, woman! How did you ever do
How
anything ever?
have you survived this long?
Especially in this day and age.
Okay, well, anyway. Elon Musk, in a totally unrelated story, is directing candidates working in his new Department of Government Efficiency, of which there's 2 people running it, to submit their resumes through X, apparently granting himself an access to what he describes as super high IQ small government revolutionaries willing to work 80-plus hours per week for free. Apparently there's no salary. Indeed, it will be tedious work, make lots of enemies, and the compensation 0. Wow, you had me at hello. That's okay. Is that even legal?
No, it's legal.
So that means you have to pay
Legal,
for a
it's just
check
weird.
mark to be able to DM him to be able to get a job.
It's stupid if you're the one who's applying.
Right.
You're the stupid one.
You
Right.
dummy stupid. You stupids. There I am, talking down to people. You stupid. See you tomorrow on the Stephanie Miller Show.